And welcome to another adventure of Star Wars Shadows of Darkness, where our intrepid adventurers have overcome the bounty hunters who were after Yane and have made contact with her and verified that she actually was Yane and not some horrible force projection that they were afraid she might be. During the conflict, Galt, falling more to his primitive nature in some ways, after hearing a bellow of challenge, decided to take on three Transdoshans with just his claws. No, sorry, Barabels, not Transdoshans, Barabels. Um, Galt was eventually successful there, but then they were confronted by some mysterious figures wielding red lightsabers. And Galt then carried himself forward and lost a leg for it, while Haysh and Tendrick fought off the offending spirits until a bit of intervention from the light side of the force, which allowed them to basically dispel these dark force specters. They then dragged Galt back up to the cave where Yane was hiding out, and Haysh decided that it was time to end this. And knowing where he needed to go, set off across the landscape at a determined march, followed close behind by Tendrick, who would not leave his brother to face these things alone. Galt, meanwhile, was being tended to by Yane, the force keeping him conscious, keeping him from succumbing to the wounds of his leg, but unfortunately not being able to continue in person with his two companions, but still very much within this fight. So we shall begin this as Haysh and Tendrick, possibly breathing a bit hard, catching up to his brother, have marched almost a full kilometer across this plateau to see before them this great twisted image of a tree that has almost no almost non-recognizable features anymore. It has been so twisted by the powers of the dark side. It emanates the cold of that particular force domain. As Haysh looks up at it, what do we see in Haysh's mind as he stares at this twisted abomination before him?
Haysh is not unaccustomed to the horror of the galaxy. However, he's been given a small taste of it previously. He, however, doesn't see, we're going to say, the entity that the tree is now. He, being the gardener by heart, simply sees a very sick plant that quite literally needs his care. He sees, Haysh's mindset in of the Force, it's different from like the typical Jedi. He sees all beings, all living beings, plant, animal, whatever, as parts of the Force. Everything flows through it, and this entity in particular is just very sick, and possibly, in Haysh's mind, has forgotten what it might be. As alien as it sounds, this tree has forgotten what it means to be a tree. So Haysh, having almost a very Shinto mindset, just steps forward and with a determined and serene look on his face, he is quite literally a gardener and a woodsman out to do some cultivating.
All right. As you step forward, your practice eye notices that This tree is covered by all kinds of malignancies. There's fungus, there's rots, there's parasites, there's tumors. It's almost as if every form of sickness that could be inflicted upon a being has been inflicted upon this tree, to the point that it's almost impossible to see the original bark for all of these growths and protrusions um, and well, illnesses. As you step forward, we see Tindrick standing there by you. What do we see in Tindrick's mind?
Uh, Tindrick would be out of breath. As he said, he was catching up to his brother. He was not in any way, shape, or form, he doesn't know his plants as much. He kind of relies on Hayes for all of the green thumb knowledge, so to speak. So he would come across this tree, and his first thought is, my God, that thing is massive. But as he would keep a healthy distance still back from Hayes, because one, Hayes told him to stay put, and two, it's a tree, and Hayes' first love is going to be his gardening, and so he knows Hayes is probably going to be kind of in a certain mood seeing this tree. It's not till Tindrick gets closer and actually sees all these malignancies and corruption that his brain kind of says, if it's that big and it's that riddled, how long or what could possibly have done this? Once again, he's not knowledgeable in this thing, so he knows it's not normal, but he doesn't quite know how abnormal it is, if that makes sense. So with that, Tindrick would, albeit slowly, come up to probably Hayes' right side, about 6 feet away. And he'll kind of watch his brother work. He won't say anything. He won't interrupt him. He knows more than likely Hayes knows that he's right there, but he will not say anything unless spoken to, sort of ideal.
Okay. Well, as your brother is looking at the tree with the eye of the gardener, your more technological eye is drawn to the base of the tree, where you see that these roots have spread out to cover what looks to be what might have been a bunker at one time at the base. It's almost as if this tree grew up and around it. The massive roots almost hide the permacrete underneath it, which is cracked and blackened with age. But you do see a door, an old blast door, possibly from the era of the Clone Wars or before. And there is a very, very faint flicker of light from the actuator panel. This thing was definitely, it's been here for this tree to have gotten as big as it is. This had to have been here for a very long time. And for something like that to flicker like that still, it has to have been very, very well either maintained at one time or very well made. So, and there is a bit of a path leading down to this. So, and while the two brothers are studying what they are about to approach, the tree and the technology beneath it, the two sides of the coin of these two, our mind flits across the landscape back to Glault. What do we see Glault doing at the moment and thinking at the moment as he's trying to recover himself?
Glault knows that he messed up. He's a little bit stressed about it, knowing that he's the only thing protecting Yane from these force projections, these force ghosts. He's not in the best of fighting shape. And he is currently just trying to heal himself as best as he can. He's trying to accelerate his own healing, trying to control his pain. And he's wondering if he can manage this, if maybe he can extend it to those that are out fighting, if he can try to keep them going. if whatever they're fighting against, if even on the back lines, he can still do something to protect them while guarding the boys' best treasure, their mother.
As you have all three been together for quite some time, you've gotten a sense of each other, and you feel that the two brothers have reached their destination and are right at the cusp of it. You can sort of feel the a bit of the almost paternal sense from Haish as he looks at this tree, this plant, and a bit of the curiosity of Tindrick as he sees this this old bunker underneath it, and you have a very tentative feeling from that far away. So, we'll go back then to Haish and Tindrick. As you look for, as you stare at this tree, take it away, gentlemen. What are we doing at this moment?
Like many a duel or bout before today, Haish just steps forward. He's aware that Tindrick is next to him, but honestly, he's ignoring him at this point. Haish basically he steps forward, and not for nothing, anyone watching, especially the audience, it actually looks like Haish like squares up to this tree like he's about to throw down, and he states his name and his lineage. My name is Haish Talor. I am the formal apprentice of Jade Yanabase, and he goes back into antiquity with the lineages of his tutors. And Haish doesn't really have any titles himself that have been given to him, but one title he has given himself. He states to this tree, and I know it's going to look silly, him talking to a plant. It's more spiritual than just the face value of it. Haish will basically use his projective telepathy and try and connect with whatever the all right, Keith. On a spiritual, almost occult level, in Shinto, everything has a spirit.
Right.
In Haish's mindset, everything is connected to the Force.
Okay.
Everything has a spirit that is connected to the Force.
Makes sense.
Haish is trying to speak to that spirit.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Right.
He's
Yes,
trying
it
to
does.
speak to whatever the tree kami is
It does. Yes.
in formality there.
Okay. All right.
And what he is going to try and do here, hang on. That was actually a really damn good roll. Here, excuse me. That is a 42, my friend.
All right.
With him projecting his empathy, his care, his willingness to help, and quite literally his will into this very hurt, very sick being. He states, "My name is Haish. I am the tender of the grove. I am here to help you."
Okay. You get the sensation at first of sort of a not a void, but something that has not felt a tension like that before, as if it's confused. But then after a very brief moment, you start feeling pain and rage and a violation and a desire to strike out at anything and everything around you. you actually get your mind almost gets battered by these emotions coming off of this thing in waves. And they're not reasoning emotions. As you plunge a bit deeper into this thing's soul, you get the sensation of a hot glowing coal deep in its gut, burning it and sending through it these waves of pain. And the you have a feeling of the connection of the fungi and the disease in this thing having radiated from this burning coal at this thing's heart. It seems that all things lead back to that, and the tree itself doesn't feel like it has even a natural presence almost anymore. There may be that little bit of a trace of a core of what might have at one time been a tree, but what it is now is, well, it saying that it's a living being is technically true, but saying that
there's a teeny tiny part of it that remembers what it is to be a tree, but
yes,
that is a very forgotten memory, is what I'm hearing.
remembers what it might have been at one time to have been a tree, but it's almost as if it's a memory of a dream. So
Heish will then quite literally press the attack, so to speak.
Okay.
He's with the, I'm assuming the same roll. I can continue.
Yeah, you can continue. What are you trying to press in for?
Heish is basically going to say, I see. I am sorry. Let me help you.
Okay.
You're hurt. You're sick. And I know how to fix this or heal you. And then he'll basically bow respectfully to the company of the tree, and say, "Will you allow me to help you?"
It's almost as if this thing it hears you, but it's not perceiving what you're trying to project at it. You're just continually battered by this just cycle of emotions.
Oh, it doesn't really know how to respond
the rage
in the positive, really.
Yeah,
Okay.
the rage, the pain, the sorrow, as I said, the image you keep getting is this hot burning coal at its core. So
All right. The well, what Tindrick will see is the characteristic, and also very kind of absent-minded because the motion is so well done and well practiced, with quite a bit of repetition. With his offhand, he goes to his belt and unbuttons the holster that his gardening trowel is in, and out comes the gardening trowel, and he goes into another pocket and puts on his gardening gloves, and he pops his knuckles while he's at it and goes, "All right." He'll step forward, he'll walk up to this tree, and if there is I like to see like a slug of some kind, he'll actually ignite his lightsaber and burn the slug off. And if there are any that are in range, he will go around this tree and he'll kill off any of these parasites. If there are any fungal growths, he'll go in with the trowel and pry that off, and he'll get down to where he sees bark, or when the tree starts to bleed like actual real healthy sap. That's when the smile will come across his face and go, "All right, progress." And he's going to be there for a while.
As you begin to do this, you ignite the lightsaber when you see what you believe is like a single slug, and what you see is just a crack. It's full of them. And as your lightsaber passes through them and they sizzle and fall out, it seems almost as if more replace it from within. When you go to remove the fungus with the trowel and pry it away, beneath it is more fungus. And beneath that, more fungus and rot. It doesn't take you very long to realize that no matter how deep you go, this thing seems to have been completely consumed by this stuff. There is no tree left. It is just, it's as if the shape of the tree is the memory, and the fungal growths and the parasites and such have taken that shape. It actually, you almost get slapped in the face with a feeling of hopelessness. Maybe control check, sir.
No, I'm not. We're not going that far yet. Hang on.
Okay.
Is there a particularly substantial branch nearby?
Oh, there's several.
Heish is going to be going to experiment a bit. He's actually going to take his lightsaber. He's going to hack down one of those branches.
Okay.
When it actually comes down to the earth, he's actually going to move the lumber and actually look at the core of it.
As you cut this limb from the tree and it hits the ground, it actually bursts into a horde of little skittering creatures that basically skitter away into cracks all around, leaving nothing there that would look like anything like a tree. And when you see the edge of where that limb was, it's just a writhing mass of decay and filth, basically. So I said, you get the idea that this is a malignancy that remembers being a tree, in the shape of a tree. So, but there's nothing really left of it, at least this far out.
This is when Heish finally looks up at Tindrick and he says, "I think I'm too late."
And that's then when the hopelessness will wash over you. I need a control check, sir.
32 again.
You're able to fight it off as this, it's from this tree. This hopelessness seems almost like it's trying to oppress you into just giving up and laying down.
No,
because
Heish understands it's actually not his emotions here.
Okay. So Tindrick, because this is going on, what are you up to, sir?
Well, we'll go to the beginning of when Heish kind of went off and did his thing. Tindrick would have started to find this path going down. He would have taken it slow, one, because he knows his brother's getting to work, and two, this planet has him very wary of everything. Let's be honest. But when Heish actually turns and says, "I think I'm too late," Tindrick will actually give him this look of complete bafflement. You're too late for a plant? I've never seen you be too late for a plant. What are you talking about?
It's not a tree anymore, brother. With that, he's just going to go to the door and try the door.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's actually would have been Tindrick's next step too, is he would have found his way to the doorway.
This is definitely an old blast door. This door was designed to keep someone out. It's not a basic environmental door. It's as if and it has been closed fully. That blinking you saw from the distance is the control panel, which once you clean it off with a bit, you can see it's an older one. The numbers that would have been on the keypad are basically worn away. You really can't see anything on the front, and you're pretty sure that you wouldn't be able to just push the button and open the door. This might take a little more. There's power there, but it might take a little bit more work to get this door open.
Okay.
Heish is gonna cut through the door.
Okay.
I guess we have that then.
It's really not gonna matter to Heish. He is taking it is very much a there's no need to rush here. victory
Yeah.
will wait because
And it
Haish is
will-
going to be patient.
And it will definitely take time as you plunge your lightsaber into it, and it begins to
That's fine.
slowly cook off the Durasteel around it. Meanwhile, well, hey, Tendrick, are you going to try to fumble with the rolls at all, or
Well, I'll see Hayes plunge it in. Tindrick would probably realize just from all of his technological training that this is going to take a while via lightsaber.
Yeah.
So just so he's not idle handing it, he is going to mess around with the control panel
okay?
and see if he can't get the door to open there by speeding up the process. Basically, we'll see who's going to win. Control
Okay.
panel or lightsaber. We'll see which one holds out the longest.
Make your repair check, sir, and with a proper a appropriate repair for that, which I'm sure you have.
Oh yes.
If it opens up on his lightsaber, then it's not going to bother him at all. It's just going to leave this melted line as this thing opens, and Haish will just go, "Oh, all right, fair enough.
Right.
I don't care." Where
What kind of repair check do you want? Computer repair programming?
This is more of an actual. You're having to actually do some rewiring. So, droid repair would work, or starship repair would work, but basically, it's a physical
Okay.
thing
Yeah,
instead
we'll
of
do
programming.
we'll do droid repair then.
Okay.
I also have droid programming. Would that help in any way?
Not really, because this is a physical repair, not necessarily a program
Okay.
repair.
Gotcha. All right, let me see. It'll be a 32.
Okay, you're able to get enough wiring and such around where you're able to actually get power to the actuator. It is Haish is about a meter across, cutting this thing open. It suddenly comes loose and grinds open with a very
purposeful bulk grind.
well. It's a very bone jarring grind. You can feel it actually in your bones as this thing slowly strains its way open.
When it starts to rumble like that, Haish will kind of like give this, that's not how that's supposed to sound expression. He'll step
No.
back and look at Tindrick and go, oh,
Like
Mm.
Tindrick will actually cringe like that.
ew.
Yes. This is something that's been closed for a long time and has a lot of corrosion that's getting ground off right now. It opens about 3/4 of the way and stops. It's definitely wide enough to where you guys can walk in easily, but beyond is darkness and this
Besides
smell.
the lightsaber glow.
Well, yeah, the lightsaber glow sort of penetrates it a bit, but the smell that is coming from the very, very cold air as it comes rolling out, it definitely offends your senses. It's like the smell of a tomb that hasn't been opened in a very, very long time. And with that, Walt, off as you're off sensing your companions, you sense something dark. There's a disturbance coming from that direction as this door opens. Somewhat of a
How dark? How dark are we talking?
This is possibly some of the darkest feeling you ever encountered. When you encountered Tremaine, he was not as dark as this.
Oh, crud nuggets.
Tremaine is cheap shit compared to this
So-
big baddie.
I do not have receptive telepathy or telepathy.
Mhm.
For all the force powers I have, I don't have that. So
For shame, Claude.
I
You got
focused on-
everything else. You got everything else.
They're too simpleton.
I'm teasing you. I apologize. I'm not there.
Nah,
I'm
it's
not
cool.
there. I'm not there.
It's cool.
Shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
Haish. God damn it.
Yeah, you can use like an untrained sense to sort of get a general idea of what's going on, but you won't be able to specifically know exactly what's going on.
I think I'll go ahead and do that.
Mhm.
Well, actually, here, let me. Lynx, make your roll. I'm gonna also roll for
Yeah,
Give
make
me a
sen-
second.
make a
I gotta
sense
get the
roll.
dice away from the cat.
I was about to say the cat's tail is being worn as a hat for a moment.
Well, now that you brought it up, I mean, Keith and Lynx, I have a
Mhm.
feeling that it's probably simultaneously going on. Hey should
Yes.
probably go, well, we probably should tell Glalt that we are entering the tomb.
I'll make
Uh,
a sense roll real quick.
Yeah.
So we probably meet each other's will in the force.
Okay.
No, no,
Do you
no.
want me to here? I'll roll my sense. Just
10, 14.
that's a
21. Leave the
oh.
dice alone.
That's a 28 for my
There you
predictee.
go.
So we basically meet each other's will in the force.
Okay. What message are you wanting to send, sir?
I'm basically saying we've found what's ever been accosting us, and I'm basically Haish is going to paint the picture of their immediate surroundings in his mind and
Okay.
send that image to Glalt, so he'll have the picture. Basically, it'll be a Haish point of view of Tindrix, I suppose his left shoulder, the back of his head, the door partway open, the yellow glow of the lightsaber, and like 10 feet down the hallway is the snapshot of what Haish sends to Glalt.
It's just a barren, dark hallway leading into this thing.
And it looks so goddamn inviting. I want to have a
Oh, yeah.
party.
Well, I got a feeling you guys are gonna run into some trouble up there. I'm gonna ask back if I can. I'm gonna try to make a roll for it real quick. Let me feel around for the dice here. Oh, 15.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to ask back, do you guys need me to come up there?
Okay. So you basically get the sensation of you basically translate your mind of, do you need me?
No, we've got this.
You get a negative. So
All right, be safe.
um,
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
okay.
I will do everything that you wouldn't do.
And of course, Tindrix light kicks on with his one of his many lights he probably is carrying as he projects it inside. The dust in the air makes it almost into a lightsaber blade itself, because this thing just has so much dust floating in it. It's difficult to see very, very far in. It's almost like this matter in floating in the air is obscuring what's deeper in.
Delicious.
Uh,
And the groan is audible from Haish. That's
Yes.
in character. Before we go in,
Mhm.
Haish will just say, you left Glalt with Mother.
Yes, mother is tending to Galat. And then mother looked at me and said, you better go with your brother.
I love you, dear brother. You know I do. But you are always underfoot.
I can go in front if you want me to.
And die first. We're going in order.
I mean,
And
you already,
Haish-
you already lost a limb. I still got, and Galat lost a limb. I'm the one that's got to play catch up here.
That's
Trying
not,
to lighten the mood before we go into the depths of hell here.
that's not funny, and you know it. I just Haishel with a almost militaristic demeanor to him. He's just going to march down that hallway. The glow of the lightsaber basically lighting the way for him deep down into the belly of whatever hell that they've uncovered.
Okay. as you step across the threshold, your lightsaber lights up these particles in the air around you, almost like it's almost like looking at stars floating in the air because of how many they are. It's almost like you're surrounded by the galaxy itself around you. Both you and Tendrick both. And then your lightsaber, you see a flicker, and then it goes dark.
This thing shuts off my lightsaber.
Seems like possibly, yeah. Same thing with Tendrick. Your flashlight just goes dark. You still feel it in your hand, both of you do. And as you begin fumbling with it, I'm sure both of you are fumbling with with the device you particularly had in your hand. It's like the light slowly almost rises up to where you can see it. You can see in the lightsaber in your hand. It's actually glowing. And it takes a moment for your senses to almost sort of lock onto it. And specifically, Haish, we'll start with you actually. You find yourself alone. You're standing in a hallway, lightsaber lit. Above you is you see like lights flickering on as if they had been turned off and had just come back on, and you hear screaming as if someone is in basically in fear of their life down the hallway.
Can I roll for disbelief? It's wrong system, but you know what I mean.
Try using a force power to see if you can regain your senses.
A force power.
If you wish, if there's a force power you want to try to apply to this, or just a general control, if you want to try to just
Concentration.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say concentration. That should be my go-to. All right.
Okay.
36 for concentration.
Okay. You know this isn't normal,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like this isn't like the force illusions you dealt with before.
No.
This is something else. This
Well,
is more like
it was amateur hour beforehand, but this is a true puppet master we're dealing with here.
this is if you stepped across a threshold into somewhere else.
Oh, doing the whole fairy gate on me. God damn it. Okay. Brother.
You don't sense your brother's presence at all. And when I get to you, Tendrick, it'll be the same way with you. It's as if you're the only person here. You don't even sense Glalt way off in the distance.
Haish is going to actually take a step out. He would have taken like a step or two beyond the threshold. He's actually going to take a step back and just be beyond the threshold, just outside.
Okay. As you step back,
experiment.
your back hits a wall. There's no doorway.
I'm gonna put my hand back there and actually feel.
You feel a solid wall. It feels like a standard.
So basically, I'm at the end of a dead end.
Yes, there's a pair of doors to each side. Actually, it kind of reminds you vaguely of the Jedi Temple when you were living there, like barracks areas, where they would have pods for the younglings to live in.
9-year-old Haish comes back. There's a little bit of excitement in like that memory, but it's like, all right, you got to separate like the cool, hey, this was a fun memory from the horror that he now knows that he is in. Stridently, he'll just walk down this this hallway. He knows illusions can't hurt him.
You step out of the hallway at the end into a circular area, and you see that this is one of 6 little hallways with sets of doors spaced out around a common area. It's very much like a barracks. There's tables and areas in the center for gathering together, and there is one larger archway leading out into a larger corridor, which is where these screams and yells, and now you can hear shots of blasters from somewhere out there.
Remind me, Keith.
Mhm.
How old were we when Order
You were-
66 happened?
Like 8, 9 years old. Old enough to have remembered it, but not to be able to remember it very, very well.
So this vision is probably rather vivid and more nightmarish than I probably
Okay, this is very vivid. I mean, you touch things and they feel solid. This doesn't, your hands don't pass through them. They don't have they have the feel of reality.
There's a side table near me right now.
Yeah.
Haish kicks it over with his boot.
Okay, it falls over and clatters across the floor like a table should.
Huh.
Underneath, you see what looks to be carved initials.
Whose initials? Do I recognize them?
It's just 2 initials plus 2 other initials. It's hard to say. So
Oh,
there's no names that no names come to mind when you
No.
see.
that memory I can't remember. Haish jogs over to a door that's got the most ruckus behind it, and is the doors are open, the doors are closed.
It's an archway that leads out of the common area into a larger corridor. And when you get there, you see this larger corridor. It's probably 30 feet wide, 40 feet tall, big, massive construction here. Both directions looks like you have these archways spaced out as if thousands could possibly live here. And you hear the down one direction, there's a bit more of a smoke in the air, and noise seems to come from there. And you see the flash in the smoke of blaster fire and possibly lightsabers. It's hard to say exactly the way the light dances around there.
Haish will put his back up against the wall there and he's going to attempt to center himself with battle meditation.
Okay. All right. Well, while you're doing that, we'll switch over to Tendrick. Tendrick, you find yourself in a hallway as the light sort of comes up, and you're looking at your lumen as the light panels above you flicker on, and you're in a hallway. Looks kind of like a hallway. It's not familiar to you per se. It's sort of grungy, as it has been ran down for a while. Not as bad as you would expect it to be with this ruin that you just walked into, though. This is more like a space station or something that's been maintained for quite some time with very little resources. And down at the end, you see the telltale lights of a blast door that's operational. This blast door actually has rust on its surface.
That takes some time.
Okay.
First thing Tindrick would do is he would try to reach out to Haish.
Okay. You don't feel Haish at all.
I don't feel Haish at all. Is there anything on the walls? I'm assuming kind of like with Haish, if I go to look back, I'm just going to see a blank. I'm going to see a dead end.
You actually see, as you look over your shoulder, you see you're in an airlock, and the outer doorway is behind you, and you see space outside. And there's a couple of things on the wall that may have been painted on at one point, like maybe old advertisements that are pretty obscure. Like this place has seen way better days,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't see anything identifiable outside of the stars.
I thought things couldn't get any worse.
Mhm.
Uh,
As you think that, suddenly a klaxon starts going off.
of course it does. Do I see anything outside when the klaxon goes off?
Not outside, no. Although your ears do start to pop a little bit as
Oh,
it's a pressure drop.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Okay.
Like he's seen enough on this planet
Mhm,
that things changing like this doesn't necessarily frighten him,
mhm.
but he almost has like a level of respect for whatever this darkness is of damn. Just damn. When the klaxon starts, he does like the head swivel, like, oh crap,
Yeah.
what went wrong?
Yeah.
You know, like a proper person kind of would. When his ears start to pop, that's when he actually gets a little worried because that's a physical change.
Mhm.
And everything they dealt with so far, once a physical change happened, kind of revealed what it was.
Mhm.
So it kind of clicks in a little bit more real to him. He's dealt with warnings and sirens going off
Yeah.
probably the whole time at that space station. So that in and of itself doesn't bug him, but it will get him to move, especially because he is right next to an airlock. Last thing he freaking wants is that to blow wide open because that would be his luck right now.
Yeah. There is that panel next to the inner doorway that you do see the lights flickering, and you see definitely a red light blinking.
Like to the one going forward.
Yeah.
Uh,
The one in front of you.
yeah, he's gonna work the pound to open the door because he can't go anywhere else, and he doesn't want to stay in here.
Okay, it takes you a moment to look at the panel to recognize what it is. It's definitely it's not a configuration you're really familiar with, but it's definitely controls for an airlock. And it just takes you a moment to basically cycle it to where the outer doors stay closed and the inner door opens up. And as it does, the pressure, actually the air sort of rushes in, and you see beyond smoke and klaxons and such going off, and it's hard to see, but something's going on further in.
Do I just have one direction to go, or do I have a hallway?
As you step in, it's like you step. There is a hallway going left and right, but it's pretty smoky.
Okay, weird question, but can I see which direction the smoke is flowing from,
Like
like airflow wise?
yeah, well, with the inrush of air into this little airlock area, a lot of the smoke got pulled in there and it's swirling at the moment, but it looks like it might be coming from your right. At least it seems thicker that direction.
Well, might as well go to the heart of the problem. Kendrick's gonna go right.
All right, as you plunge into this,
Does
go
he
ahead.
still have all of his equipment on him?
Yeah, everything you were carrying, you have on you.
Okay.
So
Don't know how deep this thing goes.
yeah,
So, but yeah, no, Tendrick will
Okay.
start going that way. He does have a rebreather, whatever it is. So if the smoke gets too thick, he'll slap that on.
okay. You can definitely smell in this smoke the scent of burnt cabling, vaporized Durasteel, as if maybe there's been an explosion of some kind.
Always fun.
That's what comes to your mind as soon as you smell it. It smells almost like battle damage.
Yeah.
And as you plunge into the smoke, you start. It's difficult to see around you. It's almost a surreal look. You're seeing more shadows than you are actual figures. But as you step out of in that corridor and a little further, you start seeing the like movement of shadows, like posse people running about. The glow of a fire in through one doorway, possibly. That may be where some of this stuff is coming from. And you hear sort of the muffled shouts of people, almost like a repair crew, trying to patch things up before things go horribly wrong.
When he actually starts to see people or what he thinks is people, he's
Yeah.
actually going to do a life detection.
Okay. All right.
21.
Okay. All right. You detect life. It's people.
Like they actually light up. Okay.
Seems like it be like it's people to you, yes.
Okay.
One or two of the shadows don't sense as people, but they could be droids while they're moving.
Okay.
But it seems
Um,
like you can definitely detect people.
Is there any? Well, I'm assuming they might be taking them out, but is there any like the extinguishers or any of like the fire retardant stuff on the
Yeah,
walls?
you're able to get to a fire suppression kit on the walls, and there's a fire suppression fire suppression kit basically,
Yeah.
extinguisher effectively. Um, so and
Yeah. Um,
okay.
as much as like the biggest problem, like in the back of his mind this whole time,
Mhm.
Tendrick's thinking this is all a freaking game.
Mhm.
Something's going to trigger, and we're going to be back in the hallway underneath that damn tree, and none of this is actually going to exist. But there are parts of him like, or it could all be true, and I just need to take care of what I can take care of. So it's
Okay.
like it's that weird juxtaposition of disbelief, but go with it because it might be real.
Okay.
So with that in mind, even though he's kind of waiting for the other foot to drop, he's going to act like he's on a space station that's on fire, and he's going to go try to help. Also, as much as he knows it might fail, every now and then he is still going to try to reach out to
Okay.
see if he can get a hold of Haish
Okay.
or even Galat or even Yane or anyone that he actually knows.
Okay.
He knows it's probably futile, but at the same time, it's like just keep like pushing at that barrier, so to speak. But no, he will find the closest fire or closest person going to a fire,
Okay.
and he'll help out with the suppression.
Okay. All right. I noted Glut what you just said about what you're up to. And yes, it will take you quite a bit of time, and it's going to be very, very difficult for you to pull that off. But yes. And then so as that's going on and Tendrick is plunging himself into this deal, we switch over to Haish, who has activated his battle meditation. Your mind clears a bit. You still hear this battle going on, and then you see a flick of something down at the end of the hallway of movement, and something comes flying out of the smoke there, and it's a clone trooper, but he falls to the ground. He's been killed, but it is most definitely a clone trooper.
With the Mark II or the Mark III suits with the new helmets.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This is nothing like the
the white and blue uniforms. All right.
So yes.
Haish remembers these guys actually probably against his better judgment. Some of these clones were actually kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
They were nice people to talk to.
They were.
And being the very un-Jedi that Haish is, this dead clone trooper falls out of the smoke.
The front of his chest plate has been sliced open with a lightsaber blade.
Okay. Haish will just mutter under his breath, "I'll play your game for now." He'll jog over to this clone's corpse.
Mhm.
Kneel. He'll put his hand on his shoulder, and he'll actually look for his each of these clones has an ID.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm actually going to try and find his number, the name of the man and the number of the man, so to speak.
His number is 331, and the name was just Jim, GYM. So for whatever reason, but 331 was his number.
I'll just look down, and there'll be a flood.
Unit insignia 501st.
Oh, I see. Okay. He remembers the 501st. Haysh watches the news. He knows who Vader's fist is.
Mm-hmm.
But Haysh will just again, a clone is a person too.
Mm-hmm.
And all living beings are beings of the Force. However duplicated they may or may not be, that does not matter. He'll just say, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And he'll actually look up, like look at the body, look back up in the orientation where he fell from.
You see a figure leaning against the wall, a lightsaber dangling from their hand as it flickers off.
What color was it?
It was green.
Okay.
And as you get closer, you don't recognize this Jedi, but this person is definitely dressed in a Jedi robe. Young fellow, maybe 23, 24. This would have been a young man who might have just achieved the level of knighthood.
All right.
He looks up at you. When he sees you, he reaches out with desperation, actually grabs the front of your clothes and says, "You've got to get them out of here. You've got to save them."
I'm not that close to him. I
He-
do not let this man touch me.
Well, he's reaching towards you. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
And he tries to move himself towards you, and yeah, you have to save them. Okay. He's seriously wounded.
I just look at this guy and say, "You're not real."
He said, "What do you mean I'm not real?"
Hey, she'll step forward and actually put his hand on this guy's face. Like
Okay.
I will put it like I am touching him, not intimately, not like I'm not caressing him, but I am trying my goddamnedest to probably try to not, oh my god, my words are failing me.
That's okay.
Haysh knows this is an illusion.
Mhm.
But
Well,
I touch him, and I am what he's gonna try and do is basically the Vulcan mind meld, and but obviously the Miraluka version. He can see my race. I'm not wearing a hood.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he can see my yellow lightsaber, which is very unique.
Yes.
And what's that, Keith?
Well, when your hand touches him, you feel warm flesh under your hand. This doesn't feel fake. It feels true to reality. And the guy's hand comes up, and it almost as if like to grab your hand, but it's almost like he senses what you're trying to do, and he just rests his hand on your arm, and you feel him open to you, and you see.
I forced the last 4 years of my life into this man's head.
Okay.
I give him the 9-year-old me, Stas Ali carrying the young Tindruk, Yane leaving us. We're getting on a ship. We live on Dantooine. This Jedi will see Haysh's first kiss. He will see his first garden. Him being happy, the kid being happy that that he grew some flowers for his ma. Him developing himself as a swordsman, cut all the way fast forward through. This is all like within nanoseconds. I'm giving you the abridged, but and then Haysh building himself into a non-Jedi force wielding warrior. Their time on Zelos, his compassion for his brother, albeit he kind of wants to stand on his own, but the fact that he's also got to be a little bit of a big brother sometimes, and the horror that was all of Trinta to this moment now. And
Okay.
Haish says, I'm not aware of any ability to force me through time. I should be 9, and I should be like 2 floors beneath us right now on a ship leaving this place.
Okay, you actually get from him as this information passes. You get the sensation of he is him being a guardian. His name.
I will write his name down. Hang on. Names are important to
Okay. His
read.
name is Halagad Ventor. I'll actually put it in the chat here real quick. So, okay. He is a newly raised knight. He was the reason why he is even here at the temple at the moment is because he just went through his evaluation by the Master's Council to do so. When basically all hell broke loose. When the clones attacked the temple, he was sent with a group to go down to secure the archives, and he is the only one left. And his mission was to secure the holocrons, to keep them from falling into the enemy hands. And the enemy hands that he envisions towards you is the Emperor Palpatine.
Haish
And
knows who that is. He watches
yes.
the news.
Of course, the image you see of him is much different from what you've seen on the holovids that you've seen.
Heavily make-upped.
Yes.
A very smiling thumbs up Sheev.
Yes. And you also see a figure that you don't recognize per se, but he's a tall, young warrior with a blue lightsaber. And him leading these clone troopers in and basically leading them again, using the Force against other Jedi to help these clone troopers cut them down.
Does he say anything when he sees basically Haish's young life?
His eyes clear for just a moment after this exchange of information, and he looks at you and he says, "Such an idyllic life, but that's not here and now."
We don't have time to explain.
Rescue. You need to save them. You need to save the holocrons.
Well, I have one. I could take more with me.
Okay.
Can you travel? How bad are you?
He looks down and you see blood just covering one of his legs. He's bleeding out pretty quickly.
Hang on. Oh, come on, Haish, don't do that. Haish is what is the nature of the wound?
It's a pretty nasty blaster wound just above his left hip. It's a gut shot effectively. And it's pumping out fairly steadily.
He is going to apologize, however briefly, and Haish is going to poke him with his lightsaber and cauterize that wound.
Okay, he yells out in pain.
I put my hand over his mouth and said, "Shut up, or they'll hear you."
You feel the muffled the reverberations of the scream under your hand. It's muffled though, and his eyes actually glaze over and he passes out.
Does it stop bleeding?
Yeah, it's not bleeding anymore. It's cauterized.
All right. I am going to attempt to sense life here.
Okay.
24.
He is still alive. Though
Okay. I'm gonna feel his pulse.
Yeah, his pulse is thready, but it's there. So
Then he goes on my shoulder and we're going down to the library together.
All right.
Being the book nerd that he is, he remembers vividly where where Madame Jocasta Nu kept all of her things. And he's actually rifling through the Rolodex that is his head and going, oh, from here, if we can take an elevator or a staircase, I can find the landing pad where if he had eyes, he would roll them and he would say, the Gilded Lady would be, and we're gonna get the hell out of here. So next scene, Tindrick.
As you throw him over your shoulder, we switch over to Tindrick, who is helping the you've now made contact with people who are putting out fires and trying to restore basic systems. There's a lady who, she looks vaguely familiar, but you can't place where you've seen her before. It just eludes you. And she seems to be directing the repairs, and she looks at you and actually comes over to you and says, what are you good at?
What do you need fixing?
Well, if we can get the environmental systems going back again, we can at least get this smoke cleared out. And we can see what the hell's going on.
Where is it?
She points you over toward a panel. And it's, you gotta unbolt it and pop it off, and you're probably gonna see what the actual damage is behind there. When you do pop off the panel, this environmental system looks like whoever put it together either was insane or just did what they could to make things work. There are incompatible,
Jerry rigged as all hell, isn't it?
all hell and back thing.
All right. Kendrick would kind of sigh and like half mumble, half to himself. He's like, if this isn't an illusion, if I find out who made this, they're going to wish they were an illusion. And he will probably put on gloves, put on whatever else he needs to, and he'll channel concentration and intuitive tech, and he'll get to work.
All right. Make me that intuitive tech check real quick. I had that 4 dice for concentration.
It would be a 42.
Okay. You're able to intuit your way around this thing and at least get the air circulators back on, though you're not exactly sure exactly how you did it.
I let the force guide my fingers.
But you actually hear the air circulation kick on, and the smoke begins to swirl as it's sucked up into the filtration system, and as the room clears, you see you're in a room with about 3 other people. It's obviously a space station of some type. It looks like basically a Corellian design, maybe similar to that space station that you guys were on, where Hayes lost his arm. In fact, it looks a lot like that. Now that you're looking around at it. The other 3 people in the room are Corellians. The lady comes over to you, and she you now recognize that she was the bartender that you guys had spoken to at one point. And she said, good job. Now we need to get the hell out of here before they find us over here. It's a raid.
By who?
The Empire. They're after some crazy people who think they're Jedi or something. I don't know.
Okay. Show me where to go next.
Okay. She leads the group out and she says, are you armed? Oh, yeah, of course you are. I can see it on your shoulder there. Duh. You got anything else? Any hand weapons?
I got a couple other things.
Okay.
I use this mostly though. Don't worry
Okay.
about it.
She basically asked for your your blaster pistols or whatever else you have.
I got two holdout blasters on me. I got two little
Okay.
pistol ones.
Well, that's at least three of them. Three of us that are armed, and she heads out. And as you guys head down the corridor, you come to another set of blast doors, which one of the other techs goes over and fiddles with, and it pops open. And beyond that is a blast of heat, as there's just fire everywhere there. And he hits the button and closes again. He says, "Nope, not going that way." And you can see out there's like a little port right there next to this blast door. We can see outside of this station, and you see of course the stars there, but you see that ominous wedge of a star destroyer, and you see the telltale green flash of a turbo laser, and you feel the station shudder under your feet.
I'm gonna look at the bartender. Where's the alternate path? 'Cause it's not going to take much more of those.
Yeah, as her eyes got big as the space station shuddered, and she said, back this way," and she turns, and you can tell she's very nervous.
Do I know where I am on this space station? Like, if it's the same one we were on before,
Are you
how
going to
far away?
You're going to take
was
a
that?
moment to sort of think about it for a second?
Yeah, like as she's kind of like nervously trying to figure out her next step. Yeah, Tindrick's actually going to be like slowly putting together the pieces.
Mhm.
Like, okay, that's her, that's them.
Okay.
Empire, we were running from the Empire. So yeah, he's gonna.
Based on the fact that you were in an airlock when you came to, this is most likely on the outer docking ring of the station. Basically where you guys had docked, you had to go in, walk around a sort of a semicircular corridor to sort of the spokes going in toward the main part of the space station. So that way, through that one blast door would have been to probably the nearest spoke, which means you'll probably have to backtrack all the way around, probably a quarter of the way to the station to get to another one. Or if maybe one of the other locks is connected to a ship, you might be able to get to one of those.
Okay. As she's fumbling, I'm actually gonna bring up the fact of, is there any other ships still docked that haven't left yet?
Not that I'm aware of. We need to get the other side of the station before we can probably come to any other ships. Maybe the escape pod or one or two maybe still intact over here.
All right. Well, and I'll actually be like, all right, well, go that way. And I'm actually gonna like give her direction because she's freaking out.
Yeah, it's obvious.
To her, this is very much real. To him, he's kind of wondering if it's more he's memory walking through someone else's head than an actual illusion. So he's going to kind of be like, all right, go this way. We're going to hang a left and we're going to go like 100 meters or whatever. And kind of like tell her what to do so her brain can just go into command mode.
Okay. She yeah, good idea. And she takes off and the others follow after her, sort of jogging down this hallway. You come to a section that you remember. And you remember it had a wall that had a memorial with all these names that apparently there had been an attack or something at some point prior to you guys having been there. That memorial's not here. It's a blank wall there.
Because we're in the middle of that attack. Which, Tindrick will kind of look him. He'll get that quizzical look like, note it. And he'll follow up after the rest of them.
Okay. As you head around, there's a few places where there's some damage you have to crawl around and you have to put out another fire or two. But you finally come to the connection that leads in toward the center of the station. As you charge down that and come to the central hub, the place is chaos. There's people running every which way. There's obvious damage, people injured. And you see basically a group of about half a dozen kids and an adult that might be a parent or somebody that's just attached themselves, sort of hustling them across the deck there. And they seem terrified. So,
Rightfully so.
yeah.
To take a moment, especially after you saw the memorial,
Mhm.
does Tindrick know about the actual event that
Just
led to the memorial, or just that it was an attack?
you know that it was an attack, that there was a fueling station that was attached to the space station that was destroyed. That it was that the fueling station was owned by the Antilles family, and that the basically what happened when there was a crossfire between an Imperial cruiser, they said, and some pirates, and the Empire basically just didn't give a shit who was in the way.
God, I love collaterals.
Mhm.
Okay. Are we able to clear a space for the kids, or is that too far away?
Well, you can get to them, and what are you going to try to clear a space for them, like a way to get somewhere?
Well, basically trying to get them like out of all the chaos, because I mean, kids and they're freaking out. Like,
Yeah. There's places you could possibly take them to. I mean, there's that bar right there that looks fairly intact.
right, but if it's the memory he thinks he's walking through, there's not going to be a bar here eventually.
Yeah.
So, what are the other three doing? Are they just kind of hustling to the nearest?
They're running through, and as they get into the interior, one of them's on a comm trying to contact somebody. Old girl is just sitting there. She looks over at the bar as if she's expecting to see somebody, and she looks confused because she doesn't see anybody. It's basically empty. Maybe she was thinking to meet somebody there or something. You're not sure. And the other person is just sort of looking at her, like anticipating to, what's going to happen next. And with that, there's an explosion further into the promenade area. This explosion, you've heard something similar to this before. It's a breaching charge. You see three guys come running out of the smoke past the kids. There's a Rhodian, a Duro, and human. You're not sure where he's from, and they're firing these blasters back where they came from. And you see about a half a dozen stormtroopers materialize out of the mist and start firing at them. So those kids are sort of still there.
Right. We'll look at the tender and be like, who are you waiting on? And then while you're waiting, we got to go get them. And he's going to point at the kids.
She's like, my mate, he should have been here. He was supposed to be here waiting for me.
Well, hopefully he's just falling behind. Help me get the kids.
Okay. And she, as these blaster fires start flipping back and forth, these kids are basically sort of hunkered down there in the center, ducked down. They're not going anywhere. And so you're going to run out there in the middle of the blaster fire and just start grabbing kids or hustling them away or what?
Yeah, no, he knows kids caught in the crossfire. Eventually one was going to get hit and it's not going to be pretty. So, at least at the moment, yeah, he's going to try to grab them and take them back closer to the bar. So it's not right in the middle of that.
All right.
If any of the blaster shots would get close enough to Tindrick, he will do absorb dissipate energy.
Okay, make that roll for me, please, sir. I want to see if one of them actually hits you.
I think I could pick my dice correctly.
Okay. Okay.
It'll be 24.
Okay. One does actually hit you as you're charging out there, but you're able to dissipate the energy off of yourself barely. Um, but you felt it. This did not feel like something that was just a vision. This
Right.
felt like you actually felt the impact and actually staggered you a little bit. As you get to the kids. And as you get to the kids, back over to Haish.
Back
You
down to
are,
the library.
You found your way down some stairways down to the entrance to the library. You've been able so far to avoid the conflicts. You've seen off in the distance groups of clone troopers charging through areas. At one point, you saw what might have been one of the younger Jedi and a few younglings running down a corridor. Lightsaber of the Jedi lit. The kids seeming to be, following the orders they're supposed to be. And when you get to the doorway of the library, it opens up and to your presence. And as you go inside, you see librarians everywhere, gathering things together, putting them into packs, putting them onto hover sleds, as if they're trying to get as much out as they possibly can.
Has Halagod come to yet or no?
He's still definitely out.
All right. I am going to bring him over to a table that, for the sake of the scene, is cleared off, and I'm just going to lay him there.
Okay.
And if I catch the eye of one of the librarians, which when I do, is there any recognition? He should know several of these librarians by name.
You don't see any that right off the bat. You do see one. Let's see here. You do see one by the name of Tia Maribal that you have met. If you thought you had met at one point or another.
I thought, or I did.
Well, you know the name and you see her, but you never actually spoken to her directly before.
I know her face. I know her name.
Yes,
But
you know her face. You know her name. She was the one who was. She was one of the archivists that did hold the rank of archivist. There were a few dozen of them, but she wasn't one that you directly had dealt with before.
What does she say? I'm assuming it's a she.
Yes, it's a she.
What species is she?
She's Coruscani. She's human.
Okay. I'm just gonna catch her eye and then look at Ventor, and then Hayes is gonna turn back to that library door. He's going to assess any other entrances.
Okay.
How many people are in here? Quick head count.
Quick head count, about a dozen. That door, it is the way that the archives are set up. They're not really per se set up for defense.
No,
because this was supposed to be a place that Jedi could come to at any time.
Yeah.
The passageway you came through doesn't have a door. It's just an archway.
Oh, son of a bitch.
So
I just look at her and I say, I'm here to help.
Okay. She comes over and looks down at the fellow that you brought in, checks him over, and goes, he's not even much help. Quickly start gathering those data crystals over there then. And she points to a rack of data crystals. So there's one other young lady over there, probably 16, maybe teenager, gathering crystals as fast as she can and putting them in a rack to go into onto a hover sled.
Haish, oh my God. Haish jogs over to her, puts his hand on her shoulder. Basically, she's not paying attention to him.
Yeah.
She
She
has
jumps.
she has a body right next to her, and
Yes.
she leaps out of her sandals. He puts her back into her sandals with his hand,
Mhm.
and he goes, "Calm yourself. It'll
Okay.
be all right."
She
I'm
she
here.
takes a couple of deep breaths, and she says, what's happening? Why are the troopers attacking the temple? No one will tell me anything."
Oh my God. Oh shit. Come on, Haish, don't. He like hands like fucking lightning. He's going through, he's grabbing these data crystals, he's stuffing whatever he can into his sack, like his
Okay.
his rucksack.
Okay.
If there is anything else of value. As he's doing this, he's explaining that that Sheev Palpatine is he is not the man that we all thought he was, and he has turned the clones and the Republic against us, and we need to leave. We need to get everything that we can, and we need to leave. What species is she? Is she also Coruscant?
No, she is not Coruscant. She is let me see.
For God's sake, if she's also a Miraluka, you're gonna make me cry.
This young lady, I say, well, young lady, she is stop it, get over it. I hate ads. Stop being ads. Okay. By her head tails, she looks to be a Togruta, young Togruta girl.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
All right. Shit. Haish is going to be continually like looking over his shoulder, looking at that door, because he is expecting Boots to be in that doorway in any moment, and he's gonna have to be the shield that tide breaks against, because these guys are librarians. Yeah, obviously there are Jedi here, but Haish has to be a realist here. They're not going to be able to defend themselves near as well or proficiently as Haish could. And
actually, as you're thinking that, you hear the sound of running boots heading towards that passageway that you just came through.
Okay, as that echo is coming down, I grab her hand and I look down at her and I say, "What is your name?"
My name is Sasha. Sasha Dinko.
Go down to the floor 3 hangar. Find a ship called the Gilded Lady. Go now.
Okay.
My name is Haish.
But the crystals.
I will take care of them.
Okay.
Go.
She turns and she sort of hesitates just for a moment, looking at you and looking over at Tia, and then the clone troopers start pouring through the passageway, and she rounds the corner and runs, and most of these librarians are screaming except for Tia, who then reaches under her robe and pulls out a lightsaber which ignites gold.
And with that, Haish will, again, with a ramrod upright posture, he will walk very fucking slowly and menacingly out into that walkway. And God, I have a feeling that time will probably skew into like this weird tangent in there where it's almost like that scene from Sleeping Beauty where Maleficent shows up, and she does this flourish with her staff, and hey, she'll actually pull out this long 3-foot long cane that is actually, I haven't actually described Haish's lightsaber before. The 3-foot hilt of his lightsaber is actually a section of the gilded and blackened metal railing of the Jedi Enclave, the stairway that was collapsed there on Alderaan. And it had this really pretty like gold flowery kind of like almost has a Celtic swirl and leaf pattern to it. And he cut out a 3-foot section of this stairway, and he'll actually, this is long as fuck endeavor, and with a lightsaber emitter on the end, and he'll actually come down and he'll actually tap it on the tile floor, and then the 5-foot gold blade extends from there. And Heish will basically stand next to Tia and be like, I'm ready.
Okay.
I am with you.
She looks over at you as you step up, as these clone troopers come in and start to level their blasters, and she says, "Protect the librarians." As the clone troopers open up, do me a lightsaber combat roll, my friend.
Oh yeah.
Like the blaster bolt.
Now here's my question here. Is my concentration and my battle meditation still going through
Yes.
this? Oh. Okay. That is 28 die to be rolled this turn. Get him, Heish.
Well, for sake of speed, since you have 20,
we're gonna.
your minimum is going to be 28, which is going to be successful anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna
Want to roll the dice. Roll the dice.
I'm gonna
So-
roll anyway, and then we're gonna. I'm not gonna add it. We're not gonna take 45 minutes for me to do this.
Just say how many 6s you roll, and we'll go
Fuck's
from there.
sake, really. 1, 3. 6s alone. That is 14 of them.
Okay.
Heish becomes a golden whirlwind of death. There is a hail of red blaster bolts coming from that from that archway, and I'm gonna say, with Heish building himself into the warrior that he is, he becomes a wall of golden light. And she probably tries to step forward and give her best, but Heish, being the graceful warrior, graceful fighter that he is, he steps forward, kind of cartwheels in midair. It skews into like this bullet time sequence where blaster bolts will come this way. He'll send a lot of them back. His battle meditation keeps him up on this adrenaline high that is so potent. He becomes one with his higher self within the Force there, and with his projective telepathy, he is basically going to say, "Run, go."
As
They
you
cannot
whirl,
go past. They cannot pass me.
as you whirl into that motion, you see her also whirl into motion. And though she's not quite as graceful as you are, she is still a wonder to see. Not a single blaster bolt actually gets past the two of you.
Excellent.
But you do see blaster bolts fire, ricocheting back into clone troopers, being taken off their feet. And also, you notice not a single blaster bolt goes anywhere near the stacks.
Good.
And she, as you get that, as she gets that message, she glances over at you and says, "This is my job. Protect the librarians."
With that, Hazel basically, well, that'll be about, he'll say that to her about mid motion. He'll stick the landing, and what he'll do is he'll actually vault up above her and actually land behind her, spin, turn, and then actually run back down that open causeway. If I can, I'd like to say that there is a holocron that has been harvested from wherever chamber it is. If he sees one, he'll use force or his telekinesis to bring it to him. Anything that he thinks that is valuable, he'll bring to him and basically cover these librarians as they're making their retreat.
As you turn to leave, to run away, you hear a voice behind you that hits a nerve. It's a male voice that says, "Put down your lightsaber, librarian, and it will spare you." It is, you hear the voice of Tremaine. A younger Tremaine, possibly.
No.
And as you look over your shoulder, you see a very fit, undamaged Tremaine holding a blue lightsaber, dressed in the robes of Jedi, with that look of cockiness on his face.
Where is Tia? What is she doing?
She's squaring off against him. The clone troopers have backed off.
Where are the
And he is-
librarians?
The librarians are heading down the hallway, but they're looking back over their shoulders if they're not sure what to do. Should they continue on, or should they stop and come back to help? Or, you know,
Where is Sasha?
she's in the back of the group. She's holding to her chest a satchel of these crystals, and her eyes are big, obvious fear there.
How far away is she from me?
Maybe 80 feet.
I look at her and I say, go.
Okay. She sort of has it at this moment. It's almost like she's mesmerized by the whole thing happening behind you.
I do what the equivalent of flicking a little girl's ear with the force would be.
Okay. You see one of her her head tails sort of flick
Move.
as it flicked a little bit, and she sort of shakes herself out of it, and she looks up and
Go.
Okay, and she sort of nods and goes, and she's telling the other ones go, but she's having to sort of almost like shove into them to make them move. The whole group of them seems to be frozen in fear, and she's pushing on them. But behind you, you hear the sound of a lightsaber sweeping through the air, and the clash of blades.
Of course. Haish will mutter to himself, really to whoever's listening within the Force, not a Jedi, a Force mystic. Haish is one of the very few Miraluka who still were actually born with tear ducts when Miraluka had eyes in a pre-evolution state, and his tear ducts will actually well up there. But thankfully, his mask will catch those. And his voice will catch, and he'll say, "Mistress Jade, I have found the place where I will die. And he just looks at that crowd and he says, go, Hangar 3, the Gilded Lady. And he'll turn and he'll walk back into that library.
And you see Tia engaged with Tremaine. And as you begin walking forward, you see the clone troopers behind them sort of motion to each other as if they've noticed you. And they move to the flanks as if they're going to start firing on you to keep you away.
I
And with that-
simply put my hand up,
Mhm.
not threatening, just like, no, wait. And he'll actually walk up to where what would be a respectful distance, because this is a one-on-one bout, and he'll stand there.
Mhm.
Any of these clones who possibly could have been stationed in the temple will would actually understand, like, no, these people, I guess he's doing this. They're why this, they might be kind of confused, but next scene.
Okay. So as our scene switches as we see Hayes walking forward, we're back to Tendrick, who is hustling some children as a blaster bolt careens off of his shoulder. Its energy seemingly spent, but him not. You're able to get the kids off to one side, but unfortunately, the closest place you can get them to is a little cubby hole. There's not really a way out of here. As you see this group of stormtroopers coming in, and the people you were with seems to have just sort of vanished into the mist, maybe, or taken shelter themselves. But the three pirates have taken their position behind overturned equipment or around a door, firing back at these stormtroopers as the stormtroopers themselves are advancing. They're not firing directly at you guys, but occasionally a stray blaster bolt will sprang off of the bulkhead near you there.
Is the bartender gone too? That was with me. That was supposed to be
you
helping
don't
with
see
the kids.
you don't see her anywhere at the moment.
Son of a bitch. Where's the parent that was with the kids?
There's a young Arcanian lady there. If you ask her who she is, she's a teacher.
All right, Teach. We gotta get the kids out of here. Looking around while we're kind of hunkered down, if there's any furniture near me, I'd grab it and kind of prop it up in front just to protect from any stray bolts.
You're kind of like it's like a little alcove sort of tucked off the side of this thing. It's maybe 4 feet deep.
Okay.
There's a little desk you're able to pull over, like as if it's like a little kiosk, like the information kiosk. You're able to pull in the way to sort of shield yourselves a little bit from where you're at. No sooner do you pull it into place than 2 blaster bolts hit the front side of it. So,
where is the closest escape route, and what is it through?
well, the obvious ones are back out into this crossfire, which is probably a no-no. As you search around, though, you do see that there is an access panel at the back of this alcove, possibly to sort of similar to that one access panel that you guys went through to find the rebels' hidey hole.
The location's off for that compared to where I was, though, correct?
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, it was off to where you remember it being. Yes, but
Okay.
it's the same kind of panel, though.
All right, Tindrick could go. Tindrick, he'll tell the kids to like stay up against the wall.
Mhm.
And he'll tell the teacher to not poke her head out, but then he'll go back to that control panel
Okay.
and he'll try tinkering it with it.
Okay. Make me a repair or repair roll. Droid repair roll work for just fine. So.
$44.
Okay, you're able to fairly quickly and efficiently get this thing opened up. It had been damaged, but this access panel pops open, and you see it does lead to a maintenance way in the back. one of the droid paths for the maintenance droids. As soon as it pops open, the teacher sees what's going on. She starts hustling the kids through this hatch.
Is there anyone else besides the pirates and the stormtroopers that are close enough?
Not that you can see.
Okay,
Um,
so I can't get anyone else with me. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Is this one of the ones that will close behind me? Or is it going to stay open?
it'll stay open unless you close it.
Okay, I'm assuming there's a panel on the other side.
Yeah, there is a panel on the other side. Yes.
Okay, yeah. He'll go in, he'll close it. He will actually put the kiosk in front of the alcove before he goes down though.
Okay. All right. As the hatch closes, the sounds of blaster fire are muffled. And you find yourself in darkness basically, except for some very faint maintenance lights.
Flashlights again,
and-
I have a couple.
And your ears are, of course, assailed by the crying kids who are terrified. One of them looks up at you and says, "Where's our mommy?"
I'll kind of look at the teacher because I don't
Right.
know.
She comes over and she said, "It's okay, it's okay. We're gonna find your mommy." Come, but and she looks up and at you and says, "I appreciate that. Thank you for the bottom of my heart. I need to get these kids to safety."
All right. I do have a couple flashlights. I will hand one to the teacher. I'll probably hand one to the oldest child,
Okay.
or at least the one that like the kids might gather around, like the big one of the group.
Yeah. Oh, the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little Corellian boy.
Okay. Then I'll have one myself. And then I'll start taking them through. I'm assuming maintenance shafts in this are going to be kind of standard. So
Yeah, they're pretty
I can
standard.
probably get my way around. I'll look back at the teacher, but where are the parents supposed to be at?
They were supposed to be going to the escape pods, or well, one of them has a bulk freighter. It's on the planet on the planet side docking rings. It should be, and she sort of looks around. So I'm a little turned around. I think it's that way, and she points down one direction of the maintenance hallway.
Okay. Do I know which way planet side is right now?
You think she's probably right. It's hard to say without actually seeing outside, because you really can't tell if the station's rotating or anything at the moment.
Fair enough.
Although
fair
you
enough.
do feel another shock as a turbo laser bolt hits the station.
Yeah, Tindrick will rapidly go down.
Okay.
I'll let the teacher lead, and that way I can corral the kids if anyone tried to break out from behind us.
All right. You go down these maintenance hallways, the maze. There's a couple of times the teacher stops and looks as if she's confused, but you're able to give her directions on where to go.
That way.
Eventually you come into an area where you believe you're going to have to get out of the maintenance tunnels to be able to get out to the docking ring. But you think you've gotten around to where you can get to one of the spokes going out to the docking ring.
Okay. I will go to the closest access panel. I will actually have the kids and the teacher kind of go down
Okay.
a hallway. That way they're out of sight, and I will get the door to open and take a
Okay.
look out.
Okay, you get the door open, look out. You don't see anybody in the hallway at the moment. It seems you can hear the distant shots still going on in the battle, but it's nothing close by.
Right.
There is a faint layer of smoke here, but it's not nearly as bad as it was when you first came on.
Okay, can I see any of the like, am I going in the right direction?
You seem to be, yeah. This is one of the spokes leading out to the docking ring.
I'll whistle for the kids and the teacher, and we'll hustle some more.
Okay. You get out and get into that corridor and start moving out toward the docking ring. And as you're approaching the intersection of the docking ring, you hear the clank of metallic feet. And around the corner in front of you comes two hunter-killer droids. And their blasters rise up as they begin to take beads on you and the children.
Fucking HKs. What do I have around me, or is it literally just an open hallway?
It's an open corridor.
God damn it. I'm gonna basically push the teacher up against the wall,
Mhm.
and hopefully the kids follow suit.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Yeah, the kids hunker down. So
Goddamn, they're not going to stop either. All right, we're gonna do rifle. Well, rifle would have been on anyway while we were running, but because he knows he can't do anything to stop these guys from firing. They're HKs. They're gonna kill him. So he's gonna take a shot first.
okay. Make your shot. Okay. Let's see.
20 dice later.
Mhm.
'We're in like the 70 range. I
Yeah.
just stopped counting when I hit that point. I figured
Okay,
that's
yeah.
more than enough.
So yeah, yeah, go ahead and roll the damage on your yeah, you definitely hit it dead center.
$36.
Okay. You hit a power motivator and the thing sparks, burrowing through the thing's fairly substantial armor. Basically found a kink. And that one falls to the ground. The other one though opens fire on you. Are you going to try to dodge? Or you going to try to absorb it?
I know these things are probably pretty hefty, so he's probably just gonna dodge this one.
Okay.
I don't think I have the ability to absorb this one without taking damage.
All right.
$40.
All right. You're able to definitely jump out of the way. And as you do, you notice something. You notice that, yes, you are in a basically blank hallway, but you see the recess around the area just beyond where the kids are is it's a pressure door, normally operated by pressure. And you know that if you can actually cause the pressure to drop far enough beyond that thing, that pressure door will close and block this HK droid off from being able to hurt these kids. Thing is, it'll close off your escape route too, though.
Right. And as far as I can tell, that's the only way to get through to where we need to get through, besides going like all the way around and
Yeah,
wasting time.
having to go back into the central hub and then go to another spoke.
Does his HK advance, or is he kind of just in standoff mode with me?
He's in standoff where he's at. He's almost like he's guarding that intersection.
And I can't see or hear anyone else besides this guy, right?
You just see this one HK droid standing there.
All right. Well, Tindra got lucky with the first one. He's going to take aim at this one
All right.
because, he doesn't quite know how long it's going to take for the station to go down,
Okay.
if it's still going to go down, but he'd rather not chance that. So Yeah, I'm gonna stop at like 60 because I'm assuming that's more than enough to hit it.
All right, this thing moves like it's gonna like it almost makes you miss. It seems like, but you still hit it. So it didn't quite have a 60. So roll me some damage, please, sir.
It would have been more, but I was like, I figured that's probably gonna be enough. So 28.
This time you do hit it pretty square, but you hit it right on some armor, one of the thickest parts, and the blaster bolt just sort of leaves a scorch mark
Oh, alright.
on the surface. And at that point, it starts advancing. It actually it also has the one blaster rifle in one hand. It takes his other arm and actually pulls out a blaster pistol out of on the other, and lines that up too. So
How far away from me is he?
he's probably about 50 feet now.
How far was he before he moved? I'm trying to get a gauge of how
About
quick.
60. He moved about 10 feet. So
Okay, so he's not moving nearly as fast as I thought it was going to be.
yeah, he's not moving
Uh,
very fast at all. So you do recognize though that the rifle he has an auto fire. So if he starts spraying blaster bolts down this this corridor, he's probably going to start hitting things that don't need to be hit.
Right. Is this something I can use intuitive tech to try to find a kink again?
You can try, yeah.
Let me roll for the intuitive tech real quick. $32 on the intuitive tech.
Okay. You know these things are very heavily armored, but you know they have a few kinks which you've seen already with one of your shots. You also know that unless you're really lucky and hit that specific spot on this one specifically, it's going to start spraying. And when it does, there's not a lot you're going to be able to do. Except, I mean, you can possibly put yourself between the kids and it, or on the opposite side of the hallway, or that's sort of the best you could possibly do, or instead that trigger that one doorway.
Is there a kink in the arm holding the weapon, or can I hit the weapon itself to disable it?
You can definitely try. It'd be very difficult to do.
Oh, Tinder's been doing very difficult things this whole time anyway.
Okay. Well, and
Lots of dice, lots of dice.
mhm.
I don't know. Can he beat a 85?
No, that's a pretty good hit. That's yeah. That's yeah. You're still gonna have about a 50 after his dodge. Yeah.
Because now I'm getting all the aiming bonuses because he's actually gotten a
Yeah.
turn or two, so
So-
that helps.
So I'm going to say with that shot, you're able to actually hit that repeater blaster and actually disable it. I want to make you roll damage for it because it's a very precise shot. One of the you hear one of the kids as that happens, he says, "Hey, is this one of the maintenance hatches?" And he points at the floor next to him, and you can see it. There's a spot where you see the outline of a possible maintenance hatch.
Pop it now.
Okay. The kid starts messing with it, and it's taking a little bit to do it.
yell
But-
at the teacher to go help him. He's like still
Yeah,
got a
well, they-
bead on the
yeah.
robot.
So with the other blaster, it opens fire. So
Yeah, we'll do another dodge. $52.
okay, you're able to dodge out of the way, but as you do, you hear a scream behind you as the blaster bolt grazes one of the kids.
God damn it.
And
All right.
he hits the deck.
Does the kid have the
Oh, they're working on it. It's going to take them a little bit. They don't have quite they have to actually undog the bolts and stuff like that. You know, they don't have proper tools per se, but you're pretty sure they'll get it open. It's going to take them a few minutes or a minute or two to do it.
we don't have a minute or two.
And it says just past that blast door where they're at.
Fine. What does he have to do for the pressure door?
You basically just have to basically breach the hole. But you do see just behind the thing there is there's one of the doors for one of the airlocks. You put a hole in that.
I'm gonna say that's
Why
something I can
trigger it?
shoot and make a hole in it.
You could definitely try.
I guess we're gonna try.
Okay. And very important, your positioning. Are you in front of the door, or which side of the door are you currently on?
Well, when we turned the corner and I was with the kids, I didn't actually move forward at all. So I think we're still
Okay.
behind the door.
So you're right next to the kids, basically.
Yeah.
Or you have to. Are you okay? Okay.
I basically would have pushed the kids and the teacher up against the wall and
Yeah.
had them focus on me.
Okay.
Let's see here. Minimum of 60, which I'm assuming is good enough to hit
Okay.
the wall.
Yeah, I was about to say the 30 is the difficulty for it.
Okay.
You actually hit the one of the little viewer plates where it's basically it's a transparent aluminum. Blaster bolt actually goes right through that and continues through at the perfect angle to hit the same viewport at the other end of the airlock. And you hear the whistle of atmosphere start rushing outward as that little section basically crumples in and then just basically explodes outward from you. Kids are a little terrified by this, and the droid menacingly takes a couple steps forward just before this door closes in front of your face. And with that, we'll come back to you in a moment. Glault. At this point, you have finally arrived. It's been a long, arduous trek. You finally arrived at this thing that was once a tree.
All right.
You see at the base, there's this portal that's open and darkness beyond. Yanni is very nervous.
I don't blame her. Galt's thoughts are currently filled with the fact that his brothers are going to kill him for this. But they said to protect her, but they need help.
Okay.
So he's in a catch-22. What else is he supposed to do?
So what are you going?
He's actually going to turn to her and ask what she wants to do. Does she want to go in with him or stay outside?
She looks at this tree, and she says, "I don't want to go in there, but if my boys are in there."
This is where I last felt them before they vanished.
Mhm. I'll assume you've been trying to reach out to them.
Yes, the whole
You've
time.
occasionally gotten flickers. It's as if they're there, but there's something between you and them.
I'll communicate that to her and
Mhm.
ask what she thinks would be the best plan for this.
She looks around at where you're at, and she said, "That place can't be very big. I can just go in there and get him. You can stay here and keep watch."
No. You're not going anywhere without me.
Okay. And she starts to
Flat
move
out.
towards the place, and she's like, and she
I'm
stops
gonna-
and looks at you.
I'm gonna go with her. If you're going in there, you're going with me, flat out.
All right. Well, you limp down with her help and by using your staff down to the entrance. And the cold air coming out of this thing actually chills you, and you feel a shiver up your non-existent leg. It's cold,
Crap.
and it seems to be impinging upon your concentration as it does this. As this cold, the sensation of your foot being stuck in ice, which you know what that feels like.
Yeah.
So, and then it will not warm up.
Into the mouth we go.
Okay. As you step forward and hit the doorway, you feel Yane ripped from your side, and you see her fly backwards. And I need you to make me a dexterity check real quick, if you will.
What's the negatives on my decks currently?
You're currently at -2 because you
So
only
I-
have one leg.
So I get 1 dice for dexterity
Uh-huh.
plus a wild die. Wonderful.
Actually, just the wild die then.
I have 1 die. In dex.
Okay. Then make that roll.
8.
Okay. You at first are able to keep your balance, but then you feel yourself falling,
Oh.
and everything goes dark. When you come to, when your senses come back to you, your leg is there. The sensation of your leg is definitely there. And as you reach down, you touch it, it's there. And you're in a corridor of the temple on Zelos.
Okay.
And you feel a deep, deep rumble shudder through the floor.
This can't be. This flat out cannot be. There's no way. My leg is gone. I know this for a fact.
It feels like it's there. You can feel the sensation in it. So
Can I use affect mind on myself
try.
to try to figure out what's going on and basically fight whatever's going after my own mind?
Well, I mean, if you can try it.
Yeah, I am going to try it because I do not trust this. I do not like this.
Okay.
And I just committed a big upset and I am not going to lose Yane to this tree. It's 13.
Okay. You try it and nothing seems to change. You do hear the sounds of feet slapping against the stone, and you see a group of the young students that you saw at one point Master Kruk working with pass maybe 15 feet in front of you in a cross corridor. And Master Kruk, as he is at the back of him, he stops and looks at you and says, "Glalt, get up."
What are you doing here?
Trying to save these children.
From what?
The attack. They found us.
I'll go along with it, but I'm going to start questioning him about what might cause somebody to.
What do you mean? So he sort of helps you up.
I lost a leg. I've regrown a leg. I came in here with a person. That person's not here. I can't talk to the people in the force that I know for a fact were here.
Well,
What causes that?
we'll deal with that when we're safe.
No. What causes that?
I don't know. I would have to do some research about when you get these kids out of here. And at that point, you feel the ground actually shake under your feet, and you see dust rain down from above.
Okay, I'll go with it
Okay.
because I
Um,
don't want them to get hurt, and I don't know if this is really an illusion or not.
As you're hurried down the hallway by Kruk, you meet up with Mistress Jade, who has another group that's coming in as well. These younglings, and they're heading down one of the back hallways toward the what might at one point have been a landing pad, if you will. And as you get to that open area, you hear the sounds of blaster fire and cries of pain. And as you round the corner, you see several of the monks engaged with stormtroopers. These stormtroopers, though, are not your usual white armored figures. These are armored in black, and they are very accurate. Not your usual stormtroopers that seem to like to do warning shots over your head. These are definitely out for blood, and they're using repeating blasters.
All right.
Master Kruk lights his lightsaber, and so does Mistress Jade as they charge forward, and these figures turn and to start firing at them.
I'll go to help, but I'm gonna shepherd the kids. That's how I'm gonna help
Okay.
because they have lightsabers. I don't anymore.
Okay. You feel actually your old lightsaber at your hip. I mean, you have your staff as well, but the kids are huddled back in a corner. You know, if you take them around this one corner where they're at, you can actually get to the back area where you guys originally came through, maybe climb down the mountain.
Yeah, we need to get them out of here flat out. So
Okay.
I'll take them.
So you're going to leave Master Kruk and Mistress Jade to fend off?
They're
Okay.
Jedi masters. They can handle themselves. The kids are the
Okay.
priority.
All right. So-
That's what he would have wanted. Whether I like him or not is not in question. It's protect the younglings as it's always been.
Okay. All right. So you round them around the corner and take them down this longer hallway. And what are you doing? You know, we're going deeper into the mountain, but you know this is a way
This
you
is the
guys
way
came.
out. I came in this way. Trust me.
You come to the entrance that you guys originally came up, and it of course is a sheer drop. You guys rode up on a Rancor originally, and it's probably 50 meters down.
Control and alter to try to get us down.
So you're going to use telekinesis. You're gonna try. How you gonna like do them one at a time or what?
I'm pretty sure that with the skill that I have, I can manage all three of us. Because if I leave one up here, they're all gonna
There's
get
about a
hurt.
dozen kids.
There's a dozen. I thought there
Yeah.
were three. Ah, crap.
No.
Then yeah, one at a time, using me blocking as much of the door as I can to get them down that mountain.
Okay.
The oldest one's first, and I'm gonna give the first one to go down my lightsaber,
Okay.
so he has something to protect the rest with.
Okay. You hand him the lightsaber, and he sort of he doesn't touch it, like almost like it's like he's afraid it'll burn him or something.
Kid,
He says,
You
"I'm not
gotta-
supposed to use those."
kid, you got to protect them. You got to be sure of yourself.
Okay.
It's time for you to trust in the Force and to trust what your masters have taught you.
I will, but not that thing.
Then what do you trust?
He does this thing with his fist in his hand. He says, "The Force and myself."
Can you use a stick?
Of course.
Hand him the staff.
Okay. He rolls that around a little bit and says, "I can use this."
go, and I'm going to lower him first
Okay.
and repeat with all the kids.
All right. So you start lowering him down. All right. He goes down first, and I won't even make you make a roll because it's just a thematic thing here. And he starts, it'll take you a bit of time to lower him down safely. And then you'll start the laborious task of lowering the other ones down one by one. As we set, that scene switches over to Haish.
Or how is the duel in the library going?
You're still muted, sir. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now I can. Now I can. There was a delay for some reason.
Okay.
So.
How is the duel in the library going?
Tia is very well matched against him. But she's definitely being driven back. At first he came in and was playing with her. Now he seems to be much more serious. And he seems to be getting the upper hand slowly.
Okay. Haish has this whole time been kind of adding up the discrepancies in this illusion. And he's recognizing these faces, and some of them he's not. He's spent plenty of time in the library. Some of these people are in fact faceless entities to him. He also doesn't remember a little girl named Sasha who spends time in the library, and he knows everybody. And if she is 16 at this time, he should be 9 at this time. So he's kind of just going over everything in his head, going, no, this isn't adding up. This is good. It's very vivid, very emotional, but this is not correct. No, all of these people are dead. And as he's kind of like psyching himself up for this, he keeps looking over at Tremaine as he's slowly driving Tia back. And he says, "You're not real," out loud. He simply says, "You're not real."
Okay. He clashes with Tia another couple of times, and then he actually force shoves her back to give himself a bit of room. And he'll say, he looks at you and says, "I'm real enough." And he actually lunges towards you.
He lunges on me then.
Yes.
Fair. Okay. As he is coming in, I'm going to make a control test.
Okay.
I'm going to use one of my force points for this. What are the bonuses for concentration?
Concentration gives you 4 additional dice.
Okay.
And then a force point doubles your dice.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's part of it. I need more dice. Hang on. Give me a second.
Yes. I'll just say this. Have you hit 40 yet, sir?
Right now, hang on. Hang on. I'm well over 40. I am at, make sure, let's do this properly.
Mhm.
Not to be a rules lawyer, but let's do this properly.
Okay.
That concentration control check to possibly pierce this illusion was 138.
All right. So As he lunges towards you, you're fairly confident that this is some kind of very elaborate, very, very, very powerful emanation of the force that's causing this.
Yep.
What do you do?
Well, Keith, not to be a metagaming turd here right now. We're gonna try and metagame well here.
Okay.
Not poorly, but well. We have spoken outside of game about game design and game theory.
Yeah.
And you know how I do illusions in my games.
Yes.
Now, if you fail the disbelief, save whatever system you want, the illusion becomes reality and it can in fact kill you.
Yes.
But if I save on, or if anyone saves on their disbelief, the illusion is simply that it's an illusion and it can do whatever it wants to me, but it's not actually going to harm my person.
As I said, you know, this is a very, very powerful force emanation causing this.
Right.
So, you know,
I am going to say the first thing I said to Tremaine when I first met him. Now take one last look, and I'm gonna let him cut me down.
all right. You see the blade come roaring directly for you and plunge into your chest. For a split second, it hurts.
Yep. Oh, it tickled. It
And
is a
then-
warm, pleasant tickle.
And then you find yourself standing about 10 feet inside of a door. Not the same one that you were at before. You see your brother, Tendrick, standing there next to you. His eyes are closed. He seems to be in a deep meditation. And you hear a clatter behind you as Glault gently floats in through the door and is propped up against the wall.
I walk over to Tindrick and I slap him across the face for everything that I am worth.
All right.
It probably sends a shock through Haish's arm, but I'm going to put my younger brother on his ass.
Okay. So with that, Tendrick, as you are, as this door closes in front of you, you turn around as if to say something, and suddenly the teacher slugs you.
Wham!
It hurt.
The hell?
She's like, I don't know. Why are you putting the children in danger? Get over here and get this this panel up. I'm sorry. I'm excitable.
What?
Excitable. Okay. Tendrick will go over and he'll pop the shaft.
Okay. It leads to the maintenance crawlway underneath this this deck. So you can probably get through that, and if that if the seals have properly done their job, you might be able to get up into the escape hatch, or at least the possibly to the escape pods.
Okay.
There's actually a way to do that through there without actually going up above the corridor.
Oh, if we have to go back up above, then we're definitely going to go that route.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't
you
need
know,
to say
send the
more
kid-
HKs out here.
Oh yeah. You want to send the kids in first?
No, I'll poke my head out. I'll poke my head in first just to make sure it's clear.
Okay. It's clear. So it's a little dark, but it's clear.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll send the kids and the teacher.
Okay. As you guys crawl through the passageways, you come to a where there's an escape pod hatch is, and you do see escape pod is still attached there. As you cycle the door open, you look in, you can see it's going to be big enough for the teacher and the kids.
Kind of figured as much. All right, he'll put the teacher and kids in,
Okay.
and he'll just look at the teacher and hope you find the parents.
Okay.
Keep the kids alive. Get that one taken care of. A punch the one that got grazed by the blaster. Actually, is that kid like bleeding, or did it cauterize, or is he?
Oh, he's got it's bleeding a little bit. It's not bad. It basically just sort of just barely grazed his shoulder. I mean, he's crying like he's dead.
Oh yeah, he's going to. Tindrick, when they had a second outside the shelter, he would have patched him up, gave him a band-aid.
Okay.
Probably gave he probably, if he has all his stuff, he would have some rations on him. He'll give the teacher a couple handfuls. That way, the kids
Okay.
have what they need. So I mean,
Okay.
he'll do it just like it's completely real.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. And with as you dog up the hatch, and you see him launch, I'm assuming Haish is not going to stop hitting you. I'm assuming after
I'm basically gonna go down the hallway. I don't care anymore.
okay. Yeah, so it's
If I can't influence whatever illusion that they're in from, I suppose, the material world, then I leave the scene.
okay. All right. So as this thing cycles through, you see outside the hatch from this thing, you see the Star Destroyer coming around, and you see a couple of freighters flying above the ecliptic of where you're at, and in that green flash, the turbo lasers, and you see it hit an area not too far from where you're at. You feel your ears pop and the suck of vacuum as the holes breach not too far away from you.
God damn it. No.
And I'll come back to you what happens there. Here's a moment. Glalt. You're able to get the kids down to the bottom and get yourself down there, although that one leg is a little. Hey, are you doing okay? That was the okay. Although
I thought I
going
was on
down,
mute.
no, you weren't on mute. As you were going down, you that one leg is little. It makes you slip a couple of times, like it's just not working right. As you get to the bottom, there's the old town down there, the old walled city that had been overrun that you're in. And above you see this looks like an assault shuttle circling the top of the mountain. And you see it sort of dip a wing down and start moving out as if it's coming to look as if maybe it spotted you.
I know for a fact this can't be happening.
Okay.
I know for a fact I can't have regained my leg. I know from my studies in healing this is not possible.
Okay.
What can I do to try to get out of this?
Well, I mean, there's you've known how you resisted the illusions before by putting your faith in yourself and controlling your own mind.
Control self. All right. Well,
Basically, a control roll might be a good thing to do or try.
thank you. I was trying to think of what exactly it was called. Couldn't
Okay.
remember. I'm going to go ahead and attempt that because
Okay.
at this point, I know this can't be happening. I know that there was no assault shuttle on that planet.
Okay.
This is not a thing. This can't exist. I did not get my lightsaber back. I got rid of it.
Mhm.
This legit cannot be happening.
Okay.
Let's see. $30 on the dot.
30 on the dot. Okay. You're pretty sure that this thing is that what you're seeing is a very, very, very realistic construction of force of the force. What do
Oh.
you do?
Good attempt. Good attempt. But not going to work on me. I'm going to look at the kids and say, you guys got this. Walk back to where my master is. Walk back to the droids and go
That's up a climb,
up
about
a
a
climb.
60.
But I
But,
see the assault.
You see the assault outside. You're down the old city down below the temple.
I'm just gonna sit and just meditate to break myself out of it.
Okay.
Let come what may, because I know this is an illusion. I know this isn't happening.
So you sit down and you hear the this ship's blasters start firing and the kids screaming in fear, saying, "Protect us! Protect us!"
I gave them a way to protect themselves. This is an illusion. If the masters had been who they were, they would have been here. This is not a thing.
You see rock burst nearby you, and then a bolt comes straight towards you. And you feel a wash of heat over you. And then you fall. And you see Tendrick sitting there, gasping for basically like he's trying to breathe.
All right. He is. Shit. You know what? There is something I can do.
What?
I am going to return another to consciousness.
Okay. Make your roll.
Control. Would you call this an easy alter or a moderately difficult alter?
This will be a difficult.
7, 1, 2. Good. All the dice I have here right now are involved in this. Oh, that's actually the time I wanted to see half of them be sixes. 24, 30, 33, 36, 39, 40, 44. When do I stop counting?
When you hit, well, what have you gotten so far?
52.
Okay, you're able to reach into Tendrick's mind or grab his mind, not necessarily reach into it, but you see that he's definitely not conscious. And it's almost like your fingers are sliding off a glass globe around where his consciousness is, but then you find a seam. Tendrick, what you see is you're as I said, you're gasping for breath as you're being pulled toward the this rip. Oddly enough, you see a furred hand seemingly come out of nowhere. Maybe control checks her.
$24.
Okay. The hand is there. It's definitely there. You're not sure where it's coming from. It seems odd. But it's something to grab onto. Maybe there's somebody around the corner there that you just can't see the rest of them.
Right. Yeah. Tendrick will reach out for it. It's like no, actually, it is out of the 3 skills. It actually is the one that Tendrick has the most. He just doesn't have very much in general. No, like I said, since this whole thing happened, part of him's like, I mean, his mind's gonna freak out because he just got spaced. But the part in like the back of his head, like, this isn't real. This still isn't real. But maybe this is that point of, where it all ends. So yeah, he's gonna try to reach out for that hand.
I would let you spend character points or a force point to add to what you rolled, sir. Each character point you spend adds a die.
Right. Yeah, we'll go ahead and use 2 of them.
Okay.
That works. So that was 16 more.
Okay.
Does
That
actually
puts you
with,
over
with
30.
the extra die, do I get a wild die with that, or is that just extra?
No, just extra dice to add to it.
Okay, never mind. So that
Okay.
would. What I just said I had 16.
Yeah.
So take one. So take 1/6 with it. So 10 more.
Okay. That'll still put you at 34 though.
Yeah.
And with that last little additional effort of concentration of what you were just saying, suddenly you can get air. As you're staying there, you're looking at Glalt, and you see your brother maybe 15 paces down the hallway.
Oh, that was a hell of an experience.
Now, what all of you see, specifically Hayes, you'll see a little more of this, is this hallway is you're basically there's a set of steps down behind you, as if the entryway came in, then went down some steps, and then you're in a hallway that's looks like it's been carved from the living rock itself. There are roots and such that are probably that the tree above that are burrowed through the walls here and there, causing cracks. But at the very end, you see this dull, angry red glow.
I just walk towards it.
Okay, from what Hayes can see is just beyond the end of this hallway, it opens up into a circular room. Looks like it might have at one time been domed, possibly with a skylight in the middle, because there is this taproot coming down that is twisted around something red, fiery red, glowing in the middle of it. And around this taproot, there are 6 desiccated corpses in a meditative pose. Yes, Glalt?
Where's Yane?
She's not down here with you.
Actually, it actually would take Tindrick a moment to realize it was actually Galalt in front of him.
Okay.
And then his brain kind of would go like, where's mom?
I might have brought her here.
She's not around anywhere you can see.
And we got separated.
Oh, Hayes is going to kill us.
Yeah, no, I'm taking the fall on this one. I thought it would be better to bring her with and protect her, and something went no.
If I
And,
reach out, can I sense mom?
yes, actually you can. She's mad. But she's not harmed. So Hayes, as you reach that circular room, you hear a paper thin rasp that might be a voice. Just says, "Welcome."
Not one puppet master, but 6, I see. I bid thee greeting.
They will not speak.
Are you the only one alive amongst them?
I am the last. But I was not one of them. It's almost as if as he speaks a little more, it's like maybe this voice hasn't been used in a while. And but the voice is not coming from one of the 6 that's kneeling in that position. It's coming from the back of the room on beyond the taproot.
All right. I'm inspecting the room.
Okay. As you round the corner, well, first off, the walls themselves are covered with glyphs. They're reminiscent of some that you've seen on some of the documents that you've been shown through the holocron of one of the ancient languages. But you have the distinct feeling that it's probably a Sith language.
All right.
Are the other two coming up, by the way, as well? Are you guys moving up as well to where he's at? Okay. Okay. As Haish comes around the corner, around this where this taproot is, first off, this taproot, the red looks like it should be giving off heat, but it's pulsing almost like a heartbeat. And each time it pulses a little brighter, you can literally have waves of cold coming off of it. The walls actually have frost on them.
Using Haish's knowledge of botany, is this the source of the malignancy?
Yes, definitely. Most definitely, this is a source of malignancy. This is actually what this thing's gave you as an image about the heart of things. But as you round the corner, you see a figure up against the wall, standing.
All right.
If you assume so, you see the remnants of tattered robes, brown robes, not black. And as the face looks up at you from this figure that's there, it's shriveled and older, but it is most definitely recognizable.
Who?
You are looking directly at the young fellow that you saw in the temple. The first Jedi that you saw, Halagad Ventor.
I walk up to him. I don't really touch him, but
Okay.
I use like the butt end of my long haft there, and I move whatever rags that he's still wearing, because I mean, I'm probably going to touch his robes and it's probably just going to disintegrate and he's
Wow.
going to be naked. But I move like where his the clothing around his abdomen, and I'm looking for a scar that possibly may or may not have been cauterized, not very gracefully.
He definitely has a wound in his side. It's an old wound. His frame is emaciated to the point that you're wondering how this figure is actually alive. You also notice that he's not standing against the wall. He's almost a part of it. You see,
The plant has probably vampirized him, and
yeah, the roots twine
Built
around
into the
his
wall.
arms and his legs and actually pass into the body itself. And as you look, he looks down at you and says, "Do you marvel at my figure? Does it please you to see what I've become?"
no, I am the tender of the grove. I've come to help.
Help. Help. How can you help? And you literally feel as he laughs, that pulse quivers a little bit. That red pulse from this thing. I have the galaxy is overrun by darkness. How can you not join it?
I am not a weakling like you are,
Weakling.
hiding down here in the darkness.
Weakling.
Sure.
Weakling. And as he says that a couple of times, at first it's like he's mocking, then it's like, maybe weakling.
You
Is that
succumb
the-
just like Tremaine did. I'm gonna walk over to this taproot. I'm just gonna look back up at it.
Mhm.
Look where it connects to the ceiling.
This taproot looks, other than the fact that it is pure black to the point that it's almost shadow, you don't see any kind of flaws on it at all.
I plunge my lightsaber to the hilt in it.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, Keith. There's really no ceremony here.
That's fine.
I am a gardener. I have come to help a plant. And this is the source of possibly this once a very kind-hearted actual Jedi. But his mind is broken, and Haish is come to weed the garden, so to speak. No, I'm
Okay. Well, as
plunged
you
my
as you-
lightsaber in there, all
as you
5
plunge
feet of
your-
it.
as you plunge your lightsaber in, the wood around it begins to flare and burn.
Oh, there is actually wood here.
Yes, this is actually wood.
Oh, fucking funny
Um,
that. Okay.
It's just actually, as I said, it is the black of shadow.
Okay.
But the lightsaber actually burning it away.
Like Qui-Gon Jinn trying to cut through a blast
Basically.
door. I am
Basically,
basically, I'm working it.
Mhm.
This
So
thing
in
is
the-
going to burn and combust.
In the meantime, Glalt and Tendrick, what are you guys doing?
Tendrick would have actually, before running up, he would have spent a second trying to locate Mother. But if she is not anywhere in the immediate range, I would have booked it down the hallway to find Haish.
Yeah.
Probably in the midst of doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of the scene, you probably see me spear this thing.
Right. Any more technology in here that I'm able to mess with?
Not that you can see, not that, well, actually, I'll tell you what. Do me an intuitive tech check.
Ooh. $28.
You are inside a machine. It's almost like a reactor, but the power source is not normal. Its power source is the dark side. It's actually designed to do something. That glow in the middle is the power source. It's like the core of the reactor. It's corrupted the tree above, and the tree above has surrounded it, but you're pretty sure if this thing gets cleared away, you might have a problem, because no one wants to actually be inside a reactor chamber when the core is exposed.
And there's no control mechanisms or anything to do
have a-
like a overload.
You have a feeling that along the walls there's control nodes. You can touch certain, certain combinations of these glyphs on the wall will possibly control it or possibly shut it down.
As Haish is 5 foot deep in this core, in his head, he's going to hear, "That's a reactor core, brother." I would like to not explode with it if we could help that.
Then I suggest you leave.
I would rather you not explode with it either.
I am your older brother. Do what I say.
You always told me I was underfoot.
You are.
Tinder's going to go mess with the control nodes on the wall.
Okay. All
See
right.
if I can shut it down. That way, neither of us die.
So Haish make an attack. Tendrick make a programming roll, and Glalt, what are you doing? I can't hear you.
I'm sitting back watching these two do this,
Okay.
realizing there's not much I can do.
Yeah.
That besides, try to keep him out of too much danger.
Okay. You see that as the wood falls away, Hayes, you're seeing this at the center of this thing. There's some kind of a red crystal, and as you're exposing it, it's getting colder and colder. You're actually getting frost forming on your face.
All right, I bite deeper.
$54.
All right, you notice that as you're looking at these controls and such, and he's doing that, you realize as you move around this thing, you see where this guy's at the wall, is pinned to the wall. The control to shut this thing down is behind him. He's basically covering it.
Let's see if he's gonna do
Yeah.
it. And this guy's literally just in there via vines and
Yeah,
basically
he's basically been merged with the wall.
one with the crew, one with the reactor type of thing.
Basically,
Uh,
yeah.
He's actually going to look at Hayes.
Mhm.
I can shut it down if we move him. Otherwise, if you were going to stay on this path, I'm going to go collect Mother and I'm going to leave.
Then move him.
He looks at he's cackling literally as you're slashing at this thing, and you actually see his eyes begin to glow red. Tendrick sees that specifically.
Slice it out of his guts if you have to.
Can I see? Okay, this is actually going to determine how Tinder tried to do this. Can I actually see the control panel behind him?
Yeah, you can see where the control glyphs are directly behind him. Yeah, and you're pretty
Where directly behind him?
directly in behind his chest.
Of course they are.
So
All right.
you don't have to actually push the button. If you just destroy that control panel, it's going to shut everything down.
All right. Then Tendrick is going to pull his saber, his lightsaber. He is going to ignite it, and he will put it right through that man's chest and right through the control panel.
All right. As you plunge it in, Haish's lightsaber cuts away the last of the taproot, and you actually feel a shudder as it goes deadly cold, almost as cold as it would be as if you've been spaced. Tendrick has a bit of a rush from the memory, but as your lightsaber pierces through the old man, his eyes get big, and as he yells out in pain, and you feel more than see a spark, and the red begins to flicker a bit, and then just goes black. It takes a moment for the lights to come back up again as the lightsabers have lit the place up, and Tendrick's lightsaber plunged into the fellow there. He looks at you, and Tendrick, and he says, "Thank you," as his head slumps forward.
Tendrick will he'll put his lightsaber away and he'll turn to look at Haitian Galalt.
Mhm. You hear a chirping at your hip. It's your comm.
Answers it.
Okay. Masters, where are you? It's Leaf.
God damn it, Leith. Ace, we got Leith back.
Good.
I'll actually give him the coordinates.
Let's ransack the place and get out of here then.
I'm actually just not too far from. Actually, I believe I have a life form on the sensors here. Looks like a female. just outside of the structure you seem to be in?
Probably mother, pick her up.
Okay. I'll move the ship to bring you closer. So as you look through this place, the desiccated corpse against the wall. Desiccated he looks almost as bad as the ones that are kneeling around the edge, which their bodies now have basically collapsed and sort of scattered. None of them were human. In fact, by their skulls, you really can't tell what they were. You've never seen this species before. They have the remnants of lightsabers on their belts that have long ago deteriorated away. The metal itself has corroded to the point as if it's been in close contact with with corrosives for quite a while. There is, though, in the on the fellows that was on the wall, Heligod, you do find a medallion, though, about his neck. And it has the old Jedi symbol on it. It's a bit corroded as well, but it's very much still intact. So it marked him as a knight. And there's you see a few things on him. He has a recorder and things like that. The recorder itself is the old holographic type that you would also use as a communicator. And it seems to have quite a bit of data on it when you look at it.
Kendrick will grab that stuff before walking away from the wall.
Okay.
We should probably give him a proper burial. Do we have time?
Oh, let's go get mother and collect her. And then I think maybe we say a prayer, and then I think maybe we seal that blast door again. Because I know I don't intend on ever coming back here. I don't think Hayes ever intends on coming back here. I might be wrong, though.
Well, I know it was tradition that we burn the bodies.
It wouldn't take much to set up some kind of a thermal device down here to kick off after you guys go out.
Bury the whole thing in rubble, basically.
Probably.
Okay. That'll work for
You
me.
can actually probably take one of your blaster packs and rig it to self-destruct. It's a pretty simple procedure.
All right.
Okay. So
I
you
assume that's
guys,
after we collect everything.
oh yeah. So it said once you get it said the recorder and the medallion, when you get out of there, you set the thing off and you feel the rumble. The actual tree itself above, as you get out, has already started to fall in on itself. As if whatever was keeping it upright had finally gone. Also, the air feels different outside. It's not as oppressive. The clouds actually clear off, and you see a beautiful the beauty of the moon setting toward the edge of the horizon, and the other horizon is a blush of a rising sun coming up soon. And you see your beautiful ship just outside, and your mother standing there on the landing ramp. As she sees all three of you coming out, she comes out and helps you up and helps Glault limp up onto the ship. As you do lift off of the planet, rise up, you notice that it's a much smoother ride. In fact, beneath you, it just seems like a normal planet now. Doesn't have that oppressive, fearful, decayed feel anymore. And when you actually rise above the atmosphere, you notice there are many less storms spinning about this place. You make orbit safely. And Yane looks at you and says, thank you for coming to rescue me, sons. Glalt, you're gonna need some work done.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this point, the pain is starting to come back on you, Glalt, because you've been suppressing this stuff using the force emptiness for a while. And the pain is beginning to really get to you. She says, I know where we can get him some medical attention if you boys are willing to go with me. I have a rendezvous point with the fleet. They have a medical frigate.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Tendrick honestly would have, as soon as they were in and going, he would have went back to his bay
Mhm.
and would have started making a prosthetic.
Just
Okay.
don't make it a peg leg.
Okay.
Extra peg, got it.
All right. She comes up to the cockpit with you, Haish.
No,
And,
she doesn't.
Well, she's gonna follow you. She's her mother.
She's gonna have the door closed on her. And it's gonna be locked on my side.
Okay, fine. And she turns around and goes back. I guess you don't want the coordinates then. And she goes back to see how Tendrick is doing and tending to Haish. And he'll come around eventually. So she actually comes when she gets Glalt settled and comfortable. She goes back to the workshop up to Tendrick and just grabs him in a bear hug.
Tendrick probably has a tool in each hand, is just kind of like jerked.
Yeah, basically.
He'll reach around mom and like put the tools down on like a workbench, and he'll properly bear hug her back.
And she said, I missed you and your brother.
We missed you too.
I see he's still as standoffish as ever.
That was a very
Did I not give him enough love as a child or something?
you did. This is a very interesting experience we all went through, and I think he was being the gardener that he is and a tree that he could not help at first. I think it would kind of get to anyone, I think.
Yes, it would. I suppose I don't have to be as standoffish as him. She goes over to the comm and clicks it and says, Hey, do you want the coordinates?
Send him over.
Okay, she sends them through the comm system.
I'll plug everything in, and Haysh'll just confine himself to quarters for however long.
You notice the coordinates take you to a very interesting spot.
Where?
It's actually above the ecliptic.
Above
Um,
the
it's-
eclipse. What?
Of the galaxy. The galaxy's ecliptic as the sort of the center area. It's about as far above that as you can go and still be in the galaxy.
Okay, so we're probably going to be here in the ship for months then. All right. 'Cause
Well,
we're
it'll
nowhere
take you
near.
about 2 weeks.
All right.
Because
Whatever.
you're going more up and down than you are across. So
Okay.
oddly enough. So during that time, Tendrick's able to put together a basic leg for Glalt so he can begin to move around. And with the supplies you have on the ship, you're able to patch him up to the point where he is at least serviceable. Yane fills you guys in on what she's been doing with this Rebel Alliance group. How they've been doing hit and runs against the Empire for quite some time, but basically after she separated from the two of you, yes, partially now, yes, Glalt, you are partially a droid, you are serviceable. They had to change your oil and everything. She says that the Empire had redoubled its efforts to basically root them out, and she had been part of a scouting mission to look for possible bases and possible rally points. That's actually where they're going, is a rally point. And she said times are dire. There's not many rebels left, and the empire just keeps tightening its grip. And the emperor is getting more and more powerful, gathering more and more of his there's rumors that he's gathering an elite group together, calling themselves the Hand, the Emperor's Hand. And that they're people like you, the ones that have given themselves over to the dark side or have been trained since they were children, potentially younglings that had been brought into the fold, if you will. We need all the help we can get, boys. I know neither of you are very idealistic when it came to this thing, but yeah, I don't think we're being given a choice at this point. They're going to hunt. Yes, they're going to hunt until they wipe out every vestige of the Jedi, and I'm willing to bet any other Force tradition out there that might oppose them. So I've heard that they've already clashed with a few other non-Jedi groups. And they've come out, well, victorious so far. I don't know if we can hide anymore.
All I wanted to do was fix stuff and build stuff.
Yes. Mhm. Oh, there is actually one person, Haish, that you may be very interested in meeting.
I'm still confined to quarters, so
She messages you, tells you this after she's telling your brother all this stuff. So
fair. Whom?
her name is Jirane Shah.
Doesn't ring a bell.
I don't think you've ever met her before. In fact, she was one of the well, she's one that she reminded me of you. And I think she'll be with the fleet. But
All right, if you think it'll be appropriate for me to talk to her, fine.
you will. I think you'll enjoy it. Also, you've got that recorder. You gonna look at it at all, or
You talking to Tindrick?
yeah,
Tindrick's first priority would have been gloss prosthetic.
Okay.
Once that's done, then yeah, he would have tinkered with the
okay.
recorder and tried to glean any information off from it. So
You find basically it's a lot of the stuff is rambling, but you're able to get the basic idea that this Hologod Ventor was Alderaanian. That he was growing up. He was sent to the Jedi Temple very early. But once he had actually, his aspirations originally was to become just a scholar. He was very interested in ancient tomes, and things like that. But he got very much interested in Lost Jedi lore. And he was at the temple when when you guys left, and the reason why he was able to escape was he actually had he's a bit of a coward, and he actually put his lightsaber down and surrendered. And shortly after that, he was tortured for a while, and you think that's possibly where he started to fall. But with that information there and where you're getting to there, I am going to call for some closing soliloquies. I'll start with Glault, and tell me what you're thinking there, Glault, as we wrap the night up.
Glault is thinking about how everything seems to be going just not a little step by step by step, but step, jump. We went from handling some petty crime lords, run away from Tremaine, dealing with an evil tree reactor. And now by the sound of it, we're going to have to kill a dictator. This is not just, a walk through the park. This is not what the group signed up for. Not what any of us signed up for. So it's going to be a little stressful, but he's going to follow Haish and Tindrick wherever they go.
All right, then we'll move to Tindrick tinkering away in his back in his maintenance bay. What do we see as him in his mind at the moment?
Oh. Tindrick one, he'll constantly be tinkering like every time Galalt's resting or not using that prosthetic. Tindrick will probably be tinkering with it bit by bit, making it more efficient, more effective, more natural, so to speak. When he's not messing with that, he's really just going to be tinkering whatever he's got in his shop to do, whether that's making more of the more droids or whatnot. But even when he's like in the midst of like elbow deep in, droid grease and, singes and stuff, he actually keeps thinking about the experience he went through, the memory or whatever it was. And as much as it was probably just a memory he walked through, he has no idea whose actual like body he was inhabiting during that. Like he's slowly like putting all their faces to memory. Like if he ever went back to that space station, he could probably pick out all the names if he had faces to put to the names. And he also kind of wonders who that bartender's mate was supposed to be. And why he didn't show up. And every now and then, especially when he's by himself, he gives kind of a involuntary shiver as he relives that feeling of being spaced. Because I'm sorry, that's never going to leave anybody. And illusionary or not as it is, that's not going to leave a man's mind. But then it's also he's going to go back to that reactor, and as far as I can tell, like me as a player, I'm pretty sure that's the first time Tindrick has purposefully put someone down that wasn't in a fight for his life. Yes, they were in the middle of a dark side reactor. It was technically a fight for his life. They're all going to blow up. They're all going to succumb. But that was the first time he actually had to kill someone that wasn't directly trying to kill him back. And, we all know Haish is, a god with the sword and the footwork, and dare I say, might even be used to that thought of, at least he's more comfortable in it. Tindrick is not. So even though like the man said, thank you, like he actually put the lightsaber away for a little bit. It's actually in like one of his safes while he's working, and he will not look at it or even touch it for a little while. But that's kind of the chaotic, organized chaos of the mechanic on the ship.
All right. And then we move to the cockpit where Haish has sequestered himself away. What do we see in his mind there?
Haish is, like stated previously, he is confined himself to quarters, which would be either his cabin or the cockpit. He sleeps in the cockpit. He barely ever uses his actual room and his actual bed. But he goes over the experience a handful of times until it disgusts him to the point where he puts it in the back of his mind. He feels that he failed. He failed a living thing. There was a tree that was once a tree, but was in fact shriveled away to nothing, and he could not make contact with that. So he's going to have to try and figure out a way to cope with that.
All right, and as we pull away from this ship there, hurling through hyperspace toward its eventual destination, scene goes dark, and we see coming up the deck of a very militaristic ship with a pair of black boots walking. It's coming out of the bridge and down a hallway. As we pull back, we see this large black armored figure go into a set of quarters that seem to be not standard quarters that you would see on just any ship. These have definitely been installed with a specific person in mind. There's some kind of contraption, looks like two halves of a clamshell in one side. As the figure steps into this large area behind, there's a viewport looking out over the arrowed hull of it's not a Star Destroyer. It's much, much, much bigger than that. This thing's hull seems to go on and on and on. There are 4 other figures in this room, all dressed in black armor, almost as if it's an homage to this tall figure. And his deep, booming but slightly mechanical voice says, "Have you located the source of the disturbance?" And one of them nods, says, "Yes, Lord Vader, we did. It was a planet out on the edge of the galaxy, uninhabited, from what we understand. Just a little blip, but that thing that died was there." He nods. He says, "Who do we have nearby?" Well, we have a couple of 6 brothers in the area. Send them. Investigate. And Lord Vader, well, there is one more who is in the area who, well, he may be of use. And you see Vader's helmet turn to the one and says, "Which one?" He says, "Tremaine." Vader tilts his head a bit. He says, "Tell him that if he makes himself useful, he may yet live. If he can pull his body out of the back to tank long enough, that maybe he might redeem himself and earn back part of his status, and give him the rank of 7th brother." They one nods, yes, Lord Vader. He turns and heads over towards the meditation chamber. And he says, "Leave me." And the 4 file their way out of the room as the clamshell closes. And as it does, the lights come down and our curtains come to the close. Thank you very much for joining us for one more episode of Star Wars Shadows of Darkness. We will return again in a couple of weeks to see what happens next. So, good night.